Hey, yo, everybody, welcome to the Amalgam Games Lab. I'm your host, Shannon Hagler, alongside Keena Johnston.
It's Detective Pikachu Day.
Oh, yes, it is.
I'm excited.
It is a great day in human history.
It is. I also got $50 off my electricity bill, so...
Hey,
yeah.
Look at that. Everything's coming up Millhouse.
Something like that.
As close as it's ever going to get.
Fried.
Yeah. This is the show where we talk the games and the games industry at large. But first, before we jump in, if you enjoy what you're watching or about to watch, please leave a like and subscribe. Hit that notification bell as well. If you have any questions for us, you can comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. We are also on Patreon and all social media at The Amalgam Show. And our podcast is now live on iTunes, Podcast Addict, Podbean,
It should be everywhere.
Literally everywhere, Spotify, all those good places. Cool. And so, before we get any further into stories, what have you been playing? What you been up to?
Pretty much just Final Fantasy X still.
Nice.
I just beat... Spoilers for Final Fantasy X, I guess.
Yeah, spoilers for a 18-year-old game.
Yeah. To be fair, it just got ported, and... But like, yeah. I beat Unalesco, which was...
Wow.
Yeah.
That's damn near the end of the game.
Yeah, no. When I beat her, I feel like I'm on the fourth disc now.
Yes.
That kind of the way they've like Square games were structured.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm up to that, and I am. I'm literally up to like go to Sin. I'm like,
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
The thing I found about that game is like I don't know how to beat anyone. I'm like you just spam summons, like you just go overdrive summons and just.
You can. I mean, depending on the boss. Seymour has that banish ability, which makes summons not as effective.
I'm happy to like get like usually they don't one hit, but I just get that like especially with Bahamut, just like one like you can do more than 4-9 damage.
Yes. Yeah.
And then just keep doing that over and over again. Like I'll grind, get the meter up, and then just make sure that they're alive and just spam them. Because that Seymour Flux. Was ridiculous.
Yes, that was the one I was talking about.
Okay.
How like it allows you to, you have to kind of like if you're going to do that without spamming the summons, you've got to play with the fact he's got that attack called Lance of Atrophy, which does a decent amount of damage, but also casts zombie. Yeah, and you can use that to your effect because one of his attacks has no effect on you if you have zombie.
What attack is that?
I think it's his like. Overdrive or the ultimate one where he
Annihilation.
Where he comes in and does. I don't think that has any effect on you if you're zombified.
I don't think that's the case with. I know that's for Unalesco.
No, it's his auto life stuff.
Yeah.
Auto life. Oh god, I can't remember now.
He has full life, which he'll do like Spear of Atrophy, and
then he'll use full life to kill you. Up. Yeah, but there's a way you can use that to your advantage. It's been a while since I've actually played that game to completion, so I'm struggling to remember what it is. But there's a way you can actually kind of, especially if your speed stats are higher and you've got the right combination of people in, you can kind of line it up in the turns so that he hits Lance of Atrophy and you're like, cool. I can do this thing and then cure that person, and then he does full life and it like heals you instead, and you can use it against him, which is great. And so they kind of like make you think that way. But you're right, you can just spam summons in that game.
I did try to like do it legitimately. Like I went through and like grinded for ages and what's the word? Fused all my weapons with holy water so that they would be. Zombie proof, but they're not zombie proof, they're just zombie resistant because I still got zombied.
Yeah.
Fuck, okay. Yeah. I wasn't fast enough to actually like get in a move between Lance of Atrophy and full life. Yeah. So I'm like, fuck. And that's the same thing with Unalesco. Like I was trying to do the same thing, but eventually just grinded out until I got holy and then just went to town.
So one of the things that I noticed in that game is that the point in the game in which you would typically be expected in a Final Fantasy game to start grinding, where they drop you in the calm lands. Yeah. It's like this big open space, and you're like, okay, well I could just fight monsters forever. Yeah. What I found about this particular game is that it's actually more beneficial if you do the quote unquote grinding earlier on. Yeah. So after my second or third playthrough of that game, what I start doing now is instead of just going through an area through the story beats and then waiting until things are kicking my ass. In that early part of the game, when you're getting up to just before Makalania Temple, where you have to fight Sin for the first time and the chocobos get wiped out, every area they take you to in a new one that's there, I just take my time. I take my time exploring every single bit. I kill as many monsters as I possibly can. I get myself up to a certain point. Like when I'm playing it, it's easier for me to see it. But like when I see it on the sphere grid, I'm like, I want to get to here before I finish this area off, and then I'll go to the next one with certain characters. And then if you do that kind of all the way up until Makalania, at that point, not Makalania, the Jose Temple. If you do it up until that point, you kind of... You're overpowered for the beginning of the game, but once you hit Jose, everything flattens out, and you end up just being on par with everything for the rest of the game, which works out really nicely. Unalesca's a fun battle because it's an old school Final Fantasy with like
3 stages.
Different stages, and she transforms, and you're like, ugh, it's gross.
I did like that fight because it could do, like, you had to strategize it because, like, if you were zombie, she'd then do Death. I think it's just called Death, where she brings out the Grim Reaper who like one-shots everyone.
Oh, the Megadeath. Yes.
Megadeath, that's what it is.
That's the battle I'm thinking of.
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Yes, because she can put zombie on you with that bite attack. And then she casts Megadeath, which if you are not zombied, kills your entire party. But if you're zombied, you're fine. And so you've kind of got to use the status effect she's inflicted on you against her. And it's cool.
I did like that, and like trying to like have a balance of zombie, not zombie people, and like no winning, because she then casts regen on you, which then takes damage, but it's not that much damage, so it's just like slowly sapping. Keeping that balanced, and then also spamming summons. And Holy, like, Holy's ridiculous now.
Have you picked up any of the extra summons?
No, I don't think so. No, I just before you got here, because I'm going through trying to pick up some extra stuff, and I went back to the desert, which is a place I just ran through because I didn't feel like I didn't have my party together at that point, and that's when you're like, so I'm just like trying to go through it, and it's so long. And so I'm going back there, collecting a bunch of stuff, and then I ran into an Al Bhed person, and I can't understand what they're saying.
No.
And then I said yes, and then I came across, I think a Dark
Ifrit. Yeah.
And then they showed the cutscene where he's like trying to get up, and I'm like, okay, cool. And then I walked back, to where he is without knowing. I thought I was going back to home. No, it's him. I'm like, fuck. And then he just party wiped me. So I'm like, about 15 minutes lost, I think. I don't know when the last time I saved was, because I've just been wandering the desert for the like last 2 hours.
Dark Aeons are fun. They're a really fun added extra bonus content at the end. They are fucking OP. But the game is designed in such a way that, like, if you're trying to just play the story, you can blitz through it pretty simply with not too much issues and not too much strategy. If you are going to go and try and do those, there is a plethora of things you can do. Because the thing with the sphere grid and all of the mixing and the items and the customization and the format of the battles, there is so much like minutia you can actually dig down into and be like, I want my characters to do this and that and the other.
I think I've gotten to that point with Kamari where I've maxed out all of his stats and he can't do anything except move on to other people's grids.
Yes, so he's the quickest one to do that. Because I think he has like that blue mage sort of heritage as well as being a lancer. I think if you pick the expert grid, standard grid is fine, but the expert grid has way more flexibility in its movement. And in the expert grid, Kamari is basically, I think he does it in the standard grid as well. He starts at the center of the grid, and in the expert one, you get an option to pick which direction he goes earlier. He's kind of like a pretty good all-rounder until a certain point, and then you're kind of forced to choose which way he goes. Whereas in the expert grid, you can get that choice earlier and create this kind of like sort of jack of all trades, or the person you just slot in. I generally get him to go along the same path as Titus, and get a secondary like super fast striker in the team. Because having that speed up front is really, really handy, and having a couple of people that can cast like Haste Gun and stuff like that is always really handy as well.
Yeah, I can see that logic. Because I think the route I decided to go, because it was closest to Lulu's.
Yes,
at the time, so I just went like, I'm starting Black Mage, and he's literally got level 3 spells.
And nice.
So, but I haven't actually practically used him because his stats in Magic aren't that good. So I'm like,
you kind of have
Demi's like good because it will do a certain amount of damage. But
one of the interesting things about Kamari is that you can kind of get him to a certain point on the grid, get all the abilities and stuff, but then you kind of have to backtrack what the previous character did to get all the stats up in that area. And that usually means that like when you look at like Riku, if you just follow her sphere grid along, she ends up on Lulu's train. And all of the sphere grids do that. They end up like rotating basically until they go back in and coalesce into the center. Which ends up being really weird because Titus, if you follow his path just straight through the whole thing, he ends up on Yuna's path, and then he kind of gets...
That kind of checks out.
It makes sense, but he kind of like... It means that the point of the game where he's strongest is like in the middle of the story, and then towards the back end or even towards like the end game stuff.
Oh, I see.
He kind of doesn't get any more buffs in strength unless you shift him using a friend sphere over to the other side of the grid, or unless you do some like fuckery with other nodes and stuff like that. Because he just then gets like a bunch of magic points that he doesn't really use because his magic is haste and stuff like that, which is support. Doesn't really help anyone. He doesn't need magic stats for that. What he needs is more buffs. So what I tend to do is once I get those first few white magic spells off of Yuna, where it's like, okay, cool, now I've got a couple of healers that I can use, I just pick him up and shift him over to Oren's side of the grid and just get those buffs in strength. Because then he just, when Titus is strong, he just wrecks shop. And Waka and Oren end up going along the same path as well. The sphere grids are really fantastic, underrated, I think. And I say that even though the sphere grid does get praise, I still think it's underrated with how good a leveling up and like system it is for all of the aspects of the game. And the fact that it's got the flexibility, the fact that they went with, there's the standard and the expert grid, so you can kind of pick which way you want to go. That game is fan-fucking-tastic.
I have a couple of problems with the game itself. Is I do not like the temple puzzles. They just slow the game down, I think. And
the animation and all that kind of stuff is, I mean...
I get why they're there, but I'm like...
It's different.
I get it. It seems like it seems very PS2 to...
Yes,
We're going to do something that's not the core gameplay. It's not leveling up. It's like...
Oh, it's not just that, but I also think like in that era, like puzzles, like putting a puzzle in your game was almost always something that you would do. I enjoy them from the perspective that they are different. Like it's not a combat mechanic. It is a puzzle to solve, and they're not difficult to solve. The Macalania one's a bitch.
There's a couple of them that are a bitch. Like the ice one.
Macalania Temple. It's really, really annoying.
It's just like I knew exactly what to do, but trying to do it perfectly, you're like, oh, come on, now it's a fucked up one, so I have to do the whole thing again. Or the one I just did, the final Aeon one. I'm just like,
in Zanarkand,
I just went YouTube. Weird that they threw a Tetris. It's straight up Tetris pieces in there.
Yes, there is. How'd you like that boss? The one where you had to like switch around.
I like that. Was very interesting.
It's one of those things. Like I said it a lot in my Kingdom Hearts like review and during the talk that we had. That one of my pet peeves in games is introducing a mechanic for no particular reason, no discernible reason, and just having it appear and then being like, you need to be an expert at this right now. And you're like, but when was I supposed to learn this? Why is it happening now? But for some reason, that 1 in 10 doesn't bother me. I like the slight little...
I think because the temples have done teleporty stuff before, whether you're pushing the stuff, whether you're pushing the things before, like it makes sense within the context of the temples and their lore. And then... It's just interesting, like the triple attack that it can do, but you can't have all your party out, like not in the 3 because there's 6 of them. But then the way you start off, it just makes it like not very easy to move everyone out of position.
Yeah.
So someone's always going to be in position, and then he has Berserk Tail, which is fucking annoying.
Yes, yeah. And then I think the thing that I like about it is that it's very plain and obvious, like what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, okay, cool. I've got 6 points I can be on. I've got 3 of them are in front and 3 of them are behind. And he turns too, so he doesn't always face the same direction. It's like, all right, cool. So if I'm behind him, then I can get. And I remember when I was a kid playing this, I was like, oh, I'll just get all of them behind him, do a bunch of damage, and when he turns around, I'll go back and behind him. But then when I did that, the bases start glowing, and then you're like, wait, they're glowing. That's probably a bad thing. And then they explode and kill you, and you're like, great, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I just like the design they always do of these things about, like, in that particular level, when you summon an Aeon, like, they're sitting on a floating rock outside of the battlefield. And
but then the downside to it is that you get an instant glyph explode. Like, you can only do the one move. Like.
Exactly, yeah. So you've got to have like your overdrive up, and and that's when, like, again, the other parts of the game's mechanics, like getting celestial weapons and other bits and pieces in your inventory so that you can have like triple overdrive, which is an awesome ability. So when your overdrive bar's full, you can use overdrive 3 times in a row, like 3 turns in a row. It's so good, man. There are so many like really fine detail abilities that can be attached to weapons and armor that the opportunity is endless. Like there's just so much shit you can do. So like triple overdrive. So when your overdrive bar fills, it stays full for 3 turns, and then you can use your overdrive 3 turns in a row, which is awesome when you've got like Yuna, because you can use like, okay, so I can use what is it, Mega Summon or whatever she calls it. So I can summon 3 Aeons in a row that all have their overdrives. And if I just plan to have other Aeons with their overdrives full, then I can just summon them and use their overdrives. I can use like 6 of them in one battle. Like it's really good. I have one complaint in the overdrive system. I love the overdrive system. I think it's one of the best mechanics.
It seems like a really good evolution of the limit break system from 7 specifically.
Yes, I think it's the best evolution they've had for that, for whatever their mega attack is. I think it's the best one they've ever done, because it's like when you first get it, it's a really simple risk reward. You get attacked, your overdrive bar goes up. The more you get attacked, the more it goes up. You can leave your party members dying, or you can heal them, but it's simple. Like, get attacked, get overdrive, cool. And then as you use your party in different ways, and you do more things with them, they open up new ways to
that
upgrade.
System I just like, because I've been like getting notices like Titus learned Warrior. I'm like, it's not showing up in my overdrive system. I finally actually went into the overdrive thing and different what are they called, modes. I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Like, I pretty much have everyone on Warrior.
Warrior's a good one,
I did try to have it on Ally, where I think it was every time
someone else gets hit.
It was the one specifically where it was like on the character's turn, but for some reason it wasn't working, and I don't know if it was a glitch or if I just didn't understand the terminology properly. So I went back to Warrior, but I have Yuna on every time she heals.
Yes, so Yuna having on Healer is really good. There are a couple of other ones as well that are really good because there are way more. And the way it works is just like, if you perform a certain action over and over and over and over and over again, it will unlock one of those abilities. So there is one for like every time you use magic, which is good to put on Lulu. Like, just give her that one and she'll just get that. She, what was it? There are ones like Comrade, which is really good, which is like when anyone else takes damage, and those ones are actually really good because Warrior's great because it's every time you attack.
And I think for me, I like being able to have the control of when it goes up.
Warrior's really good for like say Orin and Titus and maybe Waka, depending on how you're playing those 3, but they're really good for that. But then there's other ones like Comrade's a really good one because the overdrive bar increases directly proportional to the damage the ally took. So if you're standing in battle and your comrade takes a bit of damage, then your overdrive bar goes up a little bit. But if you're standing in battle and the boss takes out your comrade, like from max health to 0, your overdrive bar instantly shoots up to full. And so like it's proportional in that way, and so you can kind of work with that and come up with different ones. There are so many, like there's a pretty big list of those.
Keep unlocking more of them.
And it does get down to the thing where, like, depending on the battle that you're doing, like, it is probably decent. Like, you you choose like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
I think Dancer's a good one as well for Lulu. I think it's called Dancer. Lulu's got the highest evasion stat off the base, like when you're just going through their regular sphere grids, her evasion stat is huge. And that one is your overdrive goes up every time you avoid an attack. And if you spend a lot of time with Lulu, you can get to the point where she basically never gets hit. Like literally, I had so many monsters like attack her, and she just like steps out of the way, and that's it. And you're like, yeah, buddy, fucking this bitch with a dress, bitch with a Moogle, But my problem with the overdrives is Lulu's overdrive. I don't like it. It's the only one.
That's what I was going to point out. Like,
it's so bad.
It tells you to spin around, and in Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 3, I was fucking pro at spinning that stick. I beat Kyron every time. But for this one, I don't know. Like, am I making not proper circles? Am I like, is it just busted from the get-go?
I'm pretty sure it's just busted from the get-go because I have been playing this game on and off since the day it was released in 2001. I have never been able to fill that bar, ever.
It gets full?
Yeah, because like all of them have, all of them have their base overdrive.
Yeah. And then when you get it right, it does more.
Exactly.
I thought hers was just counter, like, when you get the counter up.
I'm pretty sure you can get it to full and then it does like a thing, like maybe.
More thing.
I would assume so. I've never actually bothered to Google it because I figured it was a thing. Because like if you do Orin's, combination, he does more damage in the attack. If you hit Waka's like all 3, then he does like a big thing.
The big thing.
The big thing. They all have like this. Yeah. They all have one thing that is like, oh, if you do whatever it is that you're doing for them correctly, then they have like this signature attack basically. And I'm pretty sure Lulu has something that happens if you fill that bar. Probably not. If you know, leave a comment because I don't fucking know. But I feel like there should be.
I just like assumed, like, especially for Flare is a 1-to-1, and like the higher the counter, the more flares. Like it is like 4 on the counter equals 4 flares, but it's different for each spell.
Yeah.
I don't get the point of overdriving with bio unless it's for like an entire like opposition party. So, like cast bio on everyone then.
Yeah. But that would basically be it, because you can do bio on like a group or something like that. Because that's the thing with that one is that like if it is purely just that, then you can kind of strategy it out. Like if you've got three enemies, you just go like 1, 2, 3, done. I've got 3 bios, boom, 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 you're done. But like I don't use bio that much anyway because there are a list of spells in this game that do get a little bit nerfed because of the existence of things like the weapons having the abilities of like poison touch and stuff like that. Like you don't need bio so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, flare and holy and stuff like that is just, OP.
Yeah. That's always my favorite thing about every Final Fantasy game is that like white mages and even to an extent black mages kind of suck at the start, especially the classic games. Like and even like in 13 and stuff like they take forever to get any sort of effectiveness. Yeah. But when you invest in them, they become the best characters on your field. Like Vanille in 13.
Yes.
Like Yuna. Even the white mage in 1. Like you black mage and white mage doing holy and meteor just fucking Rosa in Final Fantasy 4.
Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, even like when you look at Final Fantasy 8, Renoa, who is technically the mage or whatever, she's fantastic if you use her correctly.
Yeah.
But like when it comes to 10, like Lulu is invaluable.
Yeah.
Like
she's in all my fights.
She's MVP for me. Yeah. She's always been MVP because like when I first played, I remember the first time I played through that game, I barely used Yuna because there are so many chunks of that story where she's not part of your party, so she does fall behind by a fair chunk. What I love about it, though, is that you do get all the sphere points, like the ability points, that have been happening while you're away. So when you get her back, you can just dump a bunch of points into her, which is great.
Yeah.
But it's... Yeah, it can be a little bit... frustrating with Yuna specifically to try and get her up to speed because she just falls behind a little bit. Like I know her HP stat is abysmal for a while. And it's really difficult to keep her around. Same with Riku. When she's first introduced to the party, she's the only other issue I have with the game. Not her specifically as a character, because I think she's fine, but just she's introduced so late, and it is kind of difficult to use her effectively. I understand it because you've had so much time to get used to the rest of the party members, you know what they do, and they give you enough time so that when Riku is introduced, you're not overwhelmed by what she can do. You can actually, like, you know what you're doing with the rest of them, so you're not learning them anymore. So you can actually take the time to be like, oh, Riku, okay, what does she do? But the problem is that what she does isn't useful at that stage of the game. It's only useful way further down the track, and she's not strong enough to keep around, so I just end up switching her in or out to get some experience until she's high enough level.
She's my just Machina destroyer, like just go and steal. And I think that's a really neat idea.
Absolutely. She's really, really good when, like, climbing Mount Gargazet. Like, with all those fucking Machina running around, you just like, okay, switch her in, steal, just destroy them. The bigger ones she can just take out in one hit, and you can, like, do the little ones with the other guys and not worry too much. And that's where you can get most of her levels too. Like, she'll level up pretty quickly on Mount Gargazet.
I actually had a bug at Mount Gargazet because the battle would finish and it wouldn't go to my stats screen. Like, it would just stop. And between save points is so long, I'm like climbing that. And because that's the Kamari character development scene, you have to go through like the cutscene of them all like singing the hymn and stuff like that. So if you don't like come back, save again, you have to go through that cutscene again. And climb up the mountain, and it was just the worst. I had that happen twice.
That sucks.
And I got like probably
that sucks because that's
halfway. I'm like, fuck this. And what I just figured, I'm just gonna flee from everything. Just get to this and just flee. And I did it. I got up to the next save point. I'm like, cool. And then I'm like, fuck, there's a boss. Which I think that's the other problem I have with the game. No skippable cutscenes. Like, and it's an annoyance since the PC version has it. Like the PC version has. The skippable cutscene has the...
I feel like I think you are able to skip. I feel like you are.
No. I've tried everything.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. I feel like on the PS4 version I can skip.
No, I know the PS4 version you can't.
Huh.
You can like X through it in like some of the dialogue.
I just thought that during the actual cinematic ones I could hit pause and then eventually a little circle skip would appear and I just hit that and... Because that's what they've done in every other Final Fantasy port. It's not there's no skip button that appears during it, but if you pause the cutscene at a certain point, it's usually after the first like 30 seconds or so. So that basically they give you enough time to go like, have I seen this cutscene? Yeah, I've seen this cutscene. Pause, and then it'll be like skip or return to title screen. One of those two options, and then you can just hit a button and it just skips the cutscene.
This doesn't have that.
I know it does it in 12, I think.
Yeah, 12, I'm pretty sure 12 does have skippable cutscenes.
It might be the way it's coded, though, I guess.
It's probably. The only thing I can think of is that because it's put on Switch, which means it's got to be put on the cartridge. Even then, only 10 to the download still when you get it that way. They had to compress it so much that they just had to cut some of the PC features out because you can't do like the 2-4s. Like all those cool Final Fantasy 9 features are not like they are in the PC version of 10, but they're not in the Xbox or Switch version.
Right.
There's little stuff like that. It's like I feel like the Xbox was just made with parity for the Switch. With all of its like enhanced for X as well, stuff like that. Whereas I think it's just parity, but like just a couple of little things. I'm like, I would like could you patch it in or like
it would be nice to have that, but because it just was gonna say it's just sucky that you got a bug at that point too, because that whole Mount Gargazet is one of the best story beats in that game. Especially with Seymour the character like basically committing genocide. Like as close to it as possible. He almost wipes out the Ronso entirely. And his like gleeful chuckle as he says they threw themselves at him one after another, and he's just like, man, what an evil piece of shit. And it's actually really emotionally like resonant and heartbreaking, that one, and that sucks because like the through line of Mount Gargazet only works if the game is working correctly, because if you're pissed off at it, that sucks. Because you're just like, fuck you, I don't care about the Ronso, let me get to the next part.
Yeah.
Where they explain it's all a dream. Oh,
yeah,
man. Yeah.
I'm waiting for that to get explained more, which I doubt that'll happen.
It does not. It does not. It does not.
Yeah. No,
the Ultimania is basically where everything... Like, when the Ultimania came out for Final Fantasy X, it's basically when everyone went, right. Now it makes sense. And this is why 10 is like a bittersweet game for me. I love it. I think it's fantastic. I think it's one of the best, if not possibly the best. Not my favorite, but like objectively possibly the best Final Fantasy game. But it does begin the cycle of let's have our stuff explained outside of the game because the Ultimania explained 10 in a way that it didn't. And that this was the first one when they were like, let's do a sequel that's not as good. I'm interested to see what you think of 10-2.
So am I.
Because it is... man.
I'm really looking towards battle system, if anything else. Because I've heard that, like...
It's alright. It's alright.
I've heard people say it's one of the best battle systems. Like,
I disagree.
I really like the job system in 3 and 5.
Yeah.
So, I think I probably will like it.
I mean, it's a complaint that I usually have with ATB systems in general. Which is just that, like, depending on the battle in the game, sometimes there's just too much happening, and you can't physically be able to do anything. You can stick it on weight, but then it just gets even like it's not right. And the way they set out the battles as well, it's hard to see what you're doing because they're not in 2 rows. Like a traditional Final Fantasy, there's just an open area with a bunch of monsters and your 3 party members, and they just move freely around the battle space.
Kind of like 13.
Kinda, yeah. You have no active control over them, but they just move around. And so it does mean that, like, when you're looking at the battle and trying to figure out who you want to target and all that kind of stuff, it just kind of gets muddled. That's my complaint with it. I like the idea behind the dress sphere system, but I have more... So I was going to ask about the hidden Aeons, whether you found any. Because there's stuff in Final Fantasy X-2 that I have never seen. And I have completed that game 2 or 3 times as well. And I have never seen the proper ending, apart from YouTube videos. And I have missed out on at least 30% of the dress spheres in that game because I just don't know where to get them. And I know walkthroughs exist, but I don't like doing them. I prefer to play a game with my own experience, and like I have with 10, like I've never looked through a walkthrough for 10. I just play it so much that I just know where everything is. I know how to get certain things. I've never gotten Lulu's ultimate weapon because I know how to get it and I don't want to. I'm not dodging lightning bolts in the Thunder Plains for 2 hours.
Fuck, yeah.
You have to dodge 200 lightning bolts perfectly in a row without getting hit.
No, fuck the fuck out of that. I couldn't even do that, like, 2 in a row going through there.
Yeah. No. It's shitty. It's the worst part of that game.
Especially when I feel like this game does have input lag because it is just an RPG. Like, I feel... Like, even Tidus is going, like, his bar. Yeah. Like, I feel like every time I press a button, it's not... when I want.
Yeah, you press it, it's like, yeah.
Actually, the more egregious one is Waka's roulette system. It just, and I never feel like it's where I want it to be. Like, I've got to press it the one before.
Attack reels, I think, is the first one that he gets.
I've only got the first one, yeah.
Yeah, because right, of course. You have to play Blitzball to get his other overdrive.
No, I'm not doing that either. Yeah, no. Of course that's where I would get it.
Yeah, you have to play the Blitzball minigame, and there's the league mode and then there's the tournament mode. So you can play a tournament, like just a single elimination tournament, and like I think it's something like it's on a timer, so like every 3 or 4 tournaments you do, the prize for winning that tournament will be Waka's new overdrive.
Yep.
Same with the league. Every 2 or 3 times you do that, the prize for winning the league will be Waka's overdrive. And he has Attack reels is the first one, which I think is the base one that you get.
Yeah.
And that one I learned, because I've used it so much, I've actually learned to time. Yep. Like I know how to get that one so that it's that I can at least get hits on all of them and not have a miss on any of them. Yeah. If not getting like ×3 hits on all 3 of them. Yeah. So I've learned how to time that one. His second one, status reels, is a little bit more difficult. So yeah, he does attacks, and then it puts status effects on all the, like, you know, he spins around and does an attack. Each one of those attacks will have, depending on what you do, like either a different status or the same status. So you can be casting like sleep, blind, you know, all these different effects. Silence, silence, all these different effects at once, and doing that kind of stuff. What's the next one after that? I think he has 4. I don't know what the 4th one is. But the last one is called Auroch Reels, because of the Besaid Aurochs, and it's just like his overpowered. Like if you get 3 Auroch symbols in a row, he just goes fucking berserk and, you know, massive damage and all that kind of stuff. That's the one you need. That's the limit break you need. And then he breaks the... damage. He breaks the damage limit of 999.
Cool.
Yeah. They all can do that too. They can all break the damage limit. You do need their celestial weapon.
Yep.
That breaks their damage limit. Lulu's and... and that was the other thing. Yes, so you get the 3 different overdrives, and then when you get all 3 of those, his celestial weapon is the final prize for beating a Blitzball tournament, which is called the World Champion. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
I liked Blitzball. I confess, I liked playing Blitzball.
I can see playing it, trying to get the weapon, and like actually figuring out how it works and like stuff like that. Like I could see myself doing that, but I don't want to.
I get not wanting to. I defend it as a half decent mini game.
Yeah.
Especially if because like. The biggest problem is I never liked Blitzball because I always found it so difficult to win that first fucking game.
Yeah.
And it is really difficult if you fuck up the cutscene with Titus on the boat before you get to Luca. He's kicking the ball against the thing, and you got to hit the button prompts to tell his dad to shut up.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you do that correctly, and you actually do that, you gain a new ability for Titus in the Blitzball pool. The eject shot, you get that, and it's super overpowered. And so, pro tips for everyone. It's super overpowered because what it does is when you have defenders in front of you, you know how he's like bouncing the ball off? You get 2. So he hits the ball and it bounces off one of the defenders, knocks them out of the equation. Then it bounces off the second, knocks them out of the equation, and then you can fire straight at the goal. And it's a base like stat boost on his shot by 5. So you get an extra 5 to your shot as well. Yeah. And if you get close enough to the goal, and you only have 1 defender, the second bounce off takes out the goalie, and you can just go straight for him. And then, what was I going to... and then if you can get 1 ahead of the Luca goers, there is a bug in the game where if you can just grab the ball and swim behind the goalie, game over. They don't know what's happened, and they freak out, and you just sit there and let the clock drain. Yeah. It's great. It's fantastic. Yeah. And if you can win that first game of Blitzball, it makes life better because the Luca goers get this stupid fucking stat boost after they win that and beat you, and so then whenever you go back in to play Blitzball, it's harder to beat them. So you've got to kind of work against it. But if you beat them, you get a stat boost, you get a seed ranking, like you get a whole bunch of stuff that helps you along, and it makes life a little bit easier. Not only that, but pro tip, the second you can, ditch the fucking Besaid Aurochs, because you can hire other people to play in your Blitzball team. You can go around to people, it's basically the triple triad thing where you press square on certain townspeople. You can just hire them, they'll bring up their stats. I pick up every time there is a goalkeeper in Luca, in that town, there is another striker, and there's like a defender. There's like 1 of each, the position that you need, that are in that town that you can hire straight off the bat, and they blow the Besaid Auroch shits out the water. Like they're fucking trash.
Yeah.
And so the quicker you can get those fuckers out of the water, the better. And then at a certain point, you can actually hire Walker back. He's like, actually, no, I'm not retired. Dumbass. But yeah, when you finish that game, let me know, especially when you're starting 10-2.
Yeah. 10-2, I'm excited for it. And then I'll get 12. I've been doing a bunch of like going to the Digital Foundry and like looking at like actual graphics comparisons and stuff. And like the Switch version holds up really well. Like it's not running proper 1080p for 12, and like it is on 10, but 10's a very different game. Like 12.
Yes, 12 was them again doing that thing where they're like pushing the PS2 limits to its nth. And
even like up-resing that's a bit tricky. Even like I don't think it runs on 4K on the X. Like it's just they just want to keep everything running properly, so just like the X just.
I mean, that game needs to run correctly. Like, you don't want any input lag or anything like that in that game because of the way it's designed. You want everything to just run smoothly.
But just like watching all that, I'm like, these are good ports. Like,
good. I'm glad they're good ports.
Except for like 10 having the weird like no skippable cutscenes and all the PC stuff. But they weren't in the PS4 version. The Switch is the fucking like the switch over, the swipe over, and like being able to heal wherever is great. And because it actually uses less MP than going in and using Cura on everyone.
Oh really?
Yeah. Huh. Like it uses I think it uses the proper it does the math for like actual what would you need. I think you're not
that's
fully
cool.
It's not using Cure spell each time.
That's good. That's really good.
Yeah. Whereas like if you were to use item, it is using that method. That's. Thank God the Vita existed. So that's Final Fantasy X. Been playing. I think it's over now, but the Mario Tennis Aces special demo thing. It's like basically a beta, but the game's out and it's done, and you could just play online.
Right.
It was fun. I was pretty good at it. Like the first time I played, I won. Like got the cup, and then the second time I played, I lost over and over again. Fuck. And then I got the cup again. I'm like, cool. I know what Mario Tennis Aces is now.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
It's a Mario Tennis game.
Yeah. I think the game would be great if you had the Wii motion, like the what am I saying? Just motion controls to use like Mario. Like
it doesn't?
No.
Oh, I thought it did.
There's one mode where it does, but it's not an actual tennis mode. It's like a mini game.
Right.
But everyone would think they're like, it's a tennis game. You port that feature over and just do that.
With the Switch, which has arguably better motion controls.
I think it is. I think it's.
I don't know. I've been playing Let's Go Pikachu Let's Go Eevee for the last day or two, and that motion control is not good.
My right control was bugged. Like the motion control just keeps going that. Like it won't line up, so I can't throw. I can't do anything with it now.
Huh. That's weird.
Yeah.
Like my Joy-Cons are fine. It's just that like I'll be sitting there, and what I came to the realization was with Let's Go Eevee is that if I wanted to figure out my sensing correctly, I hold it up and then select A, and then do that. That's the throwing motion. That's what it wants me to do. That's what I'm going to do. Because if I did this, if I hit A to say get ready and then do this, it thinks that's a throw and throws it anyway. So I've been doing that, but the problem is, man, oh man, do you have to be precise. Because like I've been doing that and it just goes, and
an easy way to get around it. It does use more resources, but it kind of basically use both Joy-Cons. Like have the 2 second player, you control the second player, or just like make them go away when you want them, and you just throw both balls, and it's like for whatever reason it syncs them up better.
Right.
So do the A up here, then throw it.
See, I thought about that because I'd heard about the thing where you actually put both Joy-Cons into the Joy-Con grip.
I mean, that probably is challenging,
because it can't sense that it's a Joy-Con grip, so it just thinks it's 2 Joy-Cons.
Yeah.
And if you're throwing the Joy-Con grip, it's both sensors going at the same time. But even my Switch was like, I did that. I was like, okay, cool. It worked a few times, but once I was like, throw, and then I literally saw one ball go, then the other ball go, and I was like, come on.
I think that's just the feature itself. I don't think that's the motion control.
I don't think it's not good. Which is why I'm pretty psyched to be playing a Pokemon game this year, which probably won't have those motion controls in them,
or at least won't be the only way to catch them.
Yes, because there are battles returning and all that kind of stuff. I've just been playing that because I've been hyped for Pokemon, so I'm wanting to play a Pokemon game. I went through and did the Pidgey line of Master Trainers. So now I'm a Pidgey master, a Pidgeotto master, and a Pidgeot master. So I got myself a basically like perfect IV Pidgey with Pidgeot now, and it's fucking boss. It's nice. It's nice having a Pokemon that was like level 35 just wreck a level 70 Pokemon.
Holy shit!
It's really, really satisfying.
Because from what I could tell, those master trainers do have pretty good IV Pokemon themselves. Because I had shit one trying to battle them, and I'm like, fuck.
They have really good IVs, but they do not train their AVs. They're not EVs anymore. They're AVs. And so if you're farming for Pokemon in Let's Go and you build up enough of the candy that is specifically named, so like Pidgey candy or whatever, you get 200 of those, you can max out the AVs. Okay. And if you give those to your Pidgey, it just, the stat increase is ridiculous. And so, I did that with a Pidgey. I'm currently working on a Bulbasaur, but they're fucking hard. Oh, rare Pokemon are just such a bitch in that game.
Yeah. The rare bugs are fucking trash.
Yeah, I'm not looking forward to that part.
No, because, like, trying to get a Scyther, I got a shiny Venonat instead. I got a shiny Venonat before I got a regular Scyther.
That's crazy.
And then once they popped up, they fucking kept popping up. So I bought a bunch for my friends who never actually got them off me.
Oh, good. So which one do you have?
Pikachu.
I might get a Scyther off you then.
Yeah. Can't guarantee that'll be any good, but
I don't care. I just want to fill out the Pokedex now. Yeah. Basically, I want to fill out the Pokedex. I've been playing Pokemon Go on my phone a bit more recently.
I've been noticing you've been sending me gifts more lately.
Yes, well, I've been playing
best friends.
Yeah, yes.
Made sure I lucky egg that shit.
Yeah. No, I've been playing it more because for those out there is a Pokemon giveaway currently going on EB Games. There's Zeraora for those who have Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon. The latest mythical Pokemon is out, so duck down and go to your EB and get one of those. I forgot to get one. Fuck, I'll just message my mate. It's fine. So with that being included in there, that will basically be my Pokedex is completed on Pokebank. I have every single Pokemon from 1 to 804, I think, now. Yeah. However, I do not have Melmetal. I have Meltan. I do not have Melmetal because you can only evolve the fucker in Pokemon Go and then transfer him in. Yeah. So the sudden realization was, well, if I want a complete Pokedex before Sword and Shield comes out, I need a Melmetal. Yeah. Which means I need a Meltan, which means I need to play a lot of Pokemon Go. Yeah. I have 55 Meltan candy.
Oof. The thing is, like, every now and then they'll do the box will recount in 3 days.
It's doing that now.
It just ended.
No, mine was still. They were like, oh, I remember reading the thing.
If you reset the box before the event over, like now mine's up to 7 days.
Is it? Okay. Yeah. Because mine was up to 3 like yesterday.
Yeah.
And I was still checking.
Yeah, that's fine. Like once you reset it, it'll be fine. It'll carry
back
over.
To 7.
Because I have so many, because I've been keeping on top of the Meltan thing. I'm not super on top of it, but I have one shiny Meltan, which you can only get through those 3-day events. Yeah. Like, they're a bit long. The event itself is longer. Yeah. So I have one of those. I have myself a Melmetal. I have a spare Melmetal that I need to trade someone. I've already given one away to one of my friends, my housemate.
Jeez.
And I just the other day imported one to Let's Go. So in Let's Go, I have the entire Pokedex complete except for Mew.
Oh, right.
Yeah, nice. Because of that fuckery. So I'm like, if I can ever find one of those...
Can't you trade the Mew from Go to... No?
No.
Huh.
The only way in Let's Go to get Mew is through the ball.
Oh, that sucks.
And they're super expensive. And I'm like, good. And even if I could do that, I'd be really hesitant because 1, you can't send it back, and 2, I'm trying to go for an actual complete living dex and Let's Go.
Right.
Which has been a lot of effort. But that means if I did that, Mew would never be able to come back and I'd be Mewless.
Right, yeah. No, that's fair. I mean, that was the reason I want the Melmetal anyways, because I have a complete living dex on Pokemon Bank currently sitting there, ready to go at any time.
Yeah.
because what I am hoping and praying Sword and Shield will allow me to do is play through the story once, go back, play through the story again with whatever Pokemon I would like. That's my one wish for a Pokemon game, is don't make me start with the same Route 1 Pokemon every single time. Let me play through the story once, get my Hall of Fame badge, and then play through the story a second time, but let me import a bunch of level 1 Pokemon from another game and just be like, let me start with some random-ass Pokemon. I've been I'm going to go back and play through Alpha Sapphire and do the thing again where I haven't played or completed a Pokemon game with this Pokemon before. So I'm going to catch one of those because I know it's around here somewhere and just try it. I did it with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, the Ultra Sun playthrough. I did it with Noivern. I've never had one of those before. So I caught one because I knew you could catch a Noibat early on. Caught it. It's a real pain in the ass because it evolves like level 48, so it's fucking forever, and it's piss weak until it evolves. So you're basically just throwing it in there, giving it some experience, then getting it out before it dies. But it learns U-turns. That makes life a little bit easier.
They know what it's for then.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I want to do that with Sword and Shield. But yeah, I've been playing the Pokemon. The only other thing I have been playing... Days Gone.
Not good. That's not a good idea.
Okay. The plan was that I would finish that game and write a review for the website. I'm not going to finish that game.
That's fair.
I'm just not. Not even for the lulls of it. Not even for the Anthem style fucking shit on it. Because it's not bad enough to shit on that way. It's just...
A lot of people saying it's like a 2014 game. Does that sound about right?
Yeah. I mean, base level, what this game is it's a Far Cry game.
Yeah.
I did not expect that. I didn't expect it to be as Far Cry as it is, but the crafting, the map, the climb the towers, it's all there. All of it's there. The scrapping things and craft, it's all of it is exactly a Far Cry game. Even down to the here's a base that you have to stealth through and kill, and if you don't stealth through and kill, a horde comes out. Now it's a firefight you have to survive. The weapons don't feel good. I don't like the way they feel.
Apparently melee feels really good in that game. And
melee feels alright, but...
Still not worth it.
But I've got this fucking boot knife that they give you at the start, and that's indestructible. But the fire axe I pick up is not. So I didn't want to use melee weapons because I knew they break. They break really easily too.
Yeah.
They don't last. It's 10 hits maybe, and then you're down to the next one. And then it just feels like they didn't realize what they were balancing because the baseball bat lasts longer than the fire axe. The 2x4 lasts longer than the baseball bat. And you're wait a second, what? The guns don't feel good. Some of the guns don't feel good. The shotguns feel really good, but you don't get a shotgun first up. You get a pistol and a crossbow. Crossbow feels all right. Crossbows and bows in most games feel right for people figured out bow tech 2013 with Tomb
2013
Raider.
That was it.
Everyone figured out how to make a bow and arrow feel good.
Tomb Raider, Crisis 3. There was another game that year where it was just the year of bows.
Yes, yeah. And so they figured that out.
Far Cry 3. Oh no. Yeah, Far Cry 3.
Yeah. So the games figured that out ages ago. So the crossbow feels good as well. But the other guns don't feel good. You don't... This is just depressing, this game. It literally is just depressing. You don't... You go through and you kill people and you pick up their weapons. You don't get to keep that weapon. Even though you're in the post-apocalypse and you're salvaging and scavenging, if you pick up a weapon, it's not yours. You have to buy that weapon. And then it's part of your inventory and then you can switch it in and out. But if you pick up a weapon in battle, you can use it, but once you run out of ammo, you better just dump it and move on to the next one. And it just doesn't feel right, because I'm going around, I'm scavenging for, like, scrap and parts and, like, you know, fuel and bandages and all this stuff. And, like, I'm saving all this, like, give me materials. Like, it's 2 years after the world ended, give me materials. But then I pick up this AK-47 and I'm like, nah, like, fuck it. I gotta buy that. Like, what? No.
Doesn't make any sense. The only thing I could think of is that, like, instead of buying, if it was like a training, like if you had to go train to use it. But again, it's a post-apocalypse. Use all the resources at your disposal. It's a fucking AK.
Just it's the fact that, like, it's just the disconnect between, like, use all the resources. Like, resources are scarce, but I can't pick up these guns and just take them. I have to purchase them from the store, and then they become part of my inventory. But if I have one and I drop it, then I'll never get that back again. It just frustrated me.
Does this seem like a game? I saw a couple of people say it, that this is an Assassin's Creed 1. Do you think they could make an Assassin's Creed 2 building on ideas, tech? Or do you think they'd have to, like...
For me, no.
Yeah.
Like, they'd have to overhaul the whole thing. Because the thing, like I said, is that when I played it for about 10 hours... and the realization real early on that it was a Far Cry game was just like, and I don't want this. I don't want this at all.
Yeah.
Like, we have a Far Cry game. It's called Far Cry.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want this. And at the very least, if you're going to do a Far Cry game, because, like, Horizon Zero Dawn is very Far Cry-esque.
Yeah.
You got to hook me with a narrative.
Yeah.
You've got to. And I hate every single character in this game. Like I said, I've only played it for 10 hours, and they're insufferable. I don't want to know anything about any of them. I just don't care. Deacon St. John, Boozer, I don't remember the girl's name. What was the other one? Cooper? I murdered a guy in the first, like, 5 minutes of this game, and I couldn't care less. Like, a moment that was probably meant to be emotionally resonant, and just blew his fucking brains out, and I was like, I don't care. Like, you've literally... And it's just... And it's not even like a I don't care about these. Like when it comes to Deacon St. John, I actively hate him. He's a bad character. In fact, all the characters are bad characters. They're bad human beings. Like, to the point where I was just like, these people deserve what they're getting. I don't see why I should try and help them.
Yeah.
Like, I should just drive Deacon St. John off a cliff and then credits should roll. Because he's a bad human being. And, like... I think Vinny on the Beastcast was talking about how, like, Joel is a bad person in The Last of Us, but you have Ellie, you have a glimmer of hope to live through during this time so that you can at least have a palate cleanser in this whole thing. You don't get that in Days Gone. It's just these horrible, bad people who were bad before the apocalypse and are now even worse. And I'm just supposed to get this guy to go see his... wife, fiance, lover, person, thingy. I don't know, because the cutscene that explains it is like 30 seconds long and I couldn't give a shit. Like, it just... I remember the end of the opening cutscene going like, I should probably be feeling something? Sadness? Emotions? Nah. This bike is cool, though. Like, I'll give it props for the bike. The bike control's nice.
Okay, good.
Yeah, like the bike, it's got like weight to it.
Yeah.
So if you do turn a corner too hard, it starts to like veer off and you've got to like bring it back under control. And if you overcorrect and overcompensate, it goes the other way and you end up fishtailing for a little bit until you can stabilize it. So like it's got that sort of real weightiness.
Does it feel good though? Because yeah, because sometimes I've no games that have done that, and like GTA, any of them. Yeah. Like, it's just like you always feel like you're trying to forever keep back on track.
No. Like once you get it back, you've got it back.
Okay.
And you know, and it's simple things like this. The bike is hard to control off road, which obviously it's a road bike. It's not designed to go off road.
Yeah.
But when you're on the road, things drives like a dream, cruisy, nice. I have this everything about the game in terms of like what the story and the thing it's trying to portray and set to you, coupled with its mechanics, is just dissonant. Like everything about it just doesn't quite connect. Like you've got the thing of like the bikes use fuel, so you need to collect fuel. So when you get a fuel canister, you don't get to keep it or strap it to the back of your bike or anything like that. You just fill it up and then you dump the fuel on the ground.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck that fuel, I don't need that fuel.
Yeah.
And then you drive off, leaving just like what is, from what I can tell, an infinite fuel canister because they do not end.
That's weird.
So like, I don't understand. Like people, like I understand people saying like, oh, they could do like an Assassin's Creed thing here, and then this is one, and the next one's two. And it's like, I just think that a lot of people are putting way too much weight into the ability for studios to turn it around.
Yeah.
And also, I also think that we need to stop allowing studios to make this first fumble mistake.
Yeah.
Because
especially
at some point,
at this level, like at this AAA level, under Sony's guidance.
At some point during the development of this game, someone must have said, well, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And was told, shut up. And this is the game that we got. Because it just doesn't... The only way that a sequel to Days Gone would work for me is that if they were to say it's a completely different set of characters in a completely different place with a completely different mechanic. Because like the whole thing as it stands just...
Yeah.
I can't. Like I don't have enough room in my inventory to scrap all the things I want to scrap.
That's a bad thing.
It's horrible, but it means that I'm using a bunch of stuff. And so then when it comes to the parts of the cutscene, when you're talking to a guy and he's like, oh, you know how it is, man, we got to survive. I'm like, are you kidding me? Because I just left like 40 bullets out there, like a whole bunch of rags, a bunch of disinfectant, 2 infinite gas canisters. Like, apparently this place is just rolling in MacGuffins. You don't need... to be scrounging like you people are, but apparently you are.
What you're saying, and you're the only person to make me think of this, is it sounds like Mad Max, the game. And Mad Max did what you're saying, but good. Like, it has the fuel canisters, but you can put them in the back of your car. And they are limited. They are, and you only can only fit 2 of them.
Yeah.
But you will run out of fuel, and you do have to do fuel management, but you can upgrade your car. Your car can also eventually go off-road.
Yeah.
And you can upgrade your car to be really good and really effective, and you can have different cars.
You can
the
upgrade.
car mechanic in Mad Max, I think, is like one of the best, including its car combat.
Mm-hmm. And so I've heard, and yeah, basically that's what I'm saying. Is that like, because the thing with the bike is that like, yes, you can upgrade it, but none of the upgrades feel substantial.
Yeah.
And at no point was he like, and given the tone of the game, at no point was I ever going to be riding like a low riding hog with flamethrowers shooting out of the front. That was just never going to happen.
Yeah.
As much as I wanted it. The tone of the game is just like, oh, slight upgrades and damage resistance plus 1%. Fucking great.
Yeah.
But the problem with the bike is that, like, it guzzles fuel. Like, I'll do a drive from one mission to the next. It was like early on, so it was like I'll go by it, like the in-game waypoint system where it was like 900 meters. And I was like, cool. So I went from 100% gas, I went 900 meters away, and I'm down to 84%? Like, fucking what? That's a kilometer, and that's like 1/6 of my tank?
Yeah.
Gone? Like...
That's fucked.
That's insane. Why would anyone ride a bike like that? And then, conveniently, there's a can of petrol here for whatever reason. Like, literally everywhere I went, there was because the petrol cans are always on broken down tow trucks, which apparently litter the Midwest.
This is the Seattle, which is the north.
Northeast?
Northeast.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. Sorry to our American viewers. I don't care. Wherever it's set, apparently you guys have a lot of tow trucks. Because they're literally everywhere.
From what I've seen in Twilight, yeah.
Literally every like major place that you would stop, there'd be like a tow truck with a petrol can on it. And you grab the petrol can, and I fill it back up. And it's seemingly, the reason I say it's seemingly infinite is because I went to an area where there was a mission where it was like, oh, this generator's broken down, so you got to fill it with petrol. And my truck truck. My motorcycle was down to like 16% fuel or something. So I went over and I filled my motorcycle up. And I was like, well, I hope there's enough in here. And I went over to the generator and I filled it up to 100%. And I was like, well, what? So I filled both the generator and the petrol tank on the bike with just this what appears to be 5-liter jerry can. And yeah, that kind of just like, I was giving the game chances, and every time I gave it a chance, it broke the expectation. Like, the immersion in the world completely broke for one reason or another. Again, things like, if resources are so scarce, then why am I only able to carry like 15 pieces of scrap when I should be hoarding all of this stuff regardless of it? Why in a world where resources are so scarce are the ears of zombies so valuable? Because that was my currency. Well, no, the currency was cents, like it would give you, but people were paying for zombie ears. Why? Maybe it explained it at some point in the story, but apparently the ears of zombies are valuable in this world. And then there's the other thing where like the name of the game is Days Gone, and when you open up the menu, the pause menu, it says like 773 or 737 days gone. Yeah. And I thought that would be some sort of mechanic.
Oh, okay.
Some sort of interesting, like, because that number does go up as the day-night cycle passes. When so if it goes into nighttime and then the sun rises, you click on it again, it'll say 738 days gone. I'm like, okay, cool. And I was wondering if that would turn into something. It didn't turn into anything for me. Again, like I don't know because like apparently the game's like 60 hours long, and I just don't want to play that.
No,
I'm not going to. My conclusion has been like maybe I will pick it up one day when it is dropped down to like $20 if it's free on PSN 1 month.
That's what I'm probably going to.
I might pick it up and try and figure out what the hell is going on with that game. But as it stands, we were talking about like was it last time we were on? We were talking about like, is this PlayStation's first miss? The answer is yes, 100% yes. Like I gave it the benefit of the doubt, but this thing is just a. The funny thing is, everything in that game is a 5, but because it's so many 5s put together, it immediately becomes a 2. Because you can't say anything good about it. Except for the bike. Like I said, the bike's like a 7. But even then, like that brings the aggregate score up to 3, so like what are we doing here? What are we doing? Like,
I get it. It just... I'm really interested to see what the studio does next. Like... I am, like, because they made good games. It's Ready at Dawn, isn't it? No, it's not.
No, it's Bend Studios.
Yes, they made this second worst Uncharted game.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which is a good game.
Put that on the box. Makers of the second worst Uncharted game.
Or like the 5th best, or however that ranks out.
Makers of the second worst Uncharted game and the worst Far Cry game.
And there's been some... that's another thing, though. Like, Far Cry just like... What's it doing? It's just been Far Cry. Like, it's not doing anything else.
I mean, they get away with it because they put a wacky spin on it every time.
Yeah.
Like, Far Cry... Like, starting with Far Cry 3, they found their niche of we have the wacky villain.
Yeah.
The crazy, slightly eccentric villain. And we play with that trope and come up with something different. And, like... Far Cry 5 was boring as fuck, but Joseph Seed was a fascinating character. Like they definitely drew me into that game with the idea of like, what is this guy? Like I want to know more about this charismatic religious cult leader, which is great. And then there's spin-offs. Primal. That's a completely different setting. Like cool. Like prehistoric man. That's a cool idea for a video game. And then New Dawn is like something again they've never done before, which is like, we're gonna set it like after the Far Cry 5 spoilers nuke drop. Like cool, like they do weird shit with the Far Cry formula.
I do think like the gameplay formula needs to be rejiggered. Like I played half of Far Cry 4. I'm like, I feel like I've played this game before, and I did. It was called Far Cry 3.
Yes,
I played I want more stuff like.
That was that. Like I said, I think I said it back last year when I first came onto the podcast with Far Cry 5. Their little system of like, oh, you don't pick up all these different missions. You just walk into a town, a bunch of people are talking, and they're like, oh yeah, I heard Jimmy John hit a thing over at the yonder, and you're like, oh, okay, well. And then you look on your map, and now there's a waypoint on around that area, being like, oh, you overheard this thing, maybe go check it out. Then you go over there, and like, lo and behold, here's a little puzzle to solve, and boom, you've got yourself like a, what do they call, prepper stash. You're like, oh, cash, guns, sweet, awesome. And there was no like quest line or a log or people giving it to you, like explicitly being like, you didn't have to go to a quest giver. You just had to walk by these people in the world, and overhearing their conversations gave you information to go do shit in the world. It's like, that is a new direction to take Far Cry. It was very interesting to do that stuff. The game is itself in a whole, again, it's a Far Cry game. So when you actually go in to do these things, you're just shooting a lot of shit, and that's about it. But with Days Gone, like I said, at least with Far Cry, like Far Cry 5, they did that little twist on it, and then there's the twist on like just the setting itself. The idea of all that was a very interesting idea. Far Cry New Dawn has a very interesting setting and ideas in there. Primal, like totally different again. I think Primal might be what you're looking for. Maybe. Because it's like, spears and bows and arrows and that kind of like different.
But here's the thing, I also really love Blood Dragon. But that's a shorter experience. Yeah. It's also like...
But again, like that's where it started. Where they were just like, let's take the things that we've done. Like, let's take this engine and this stuff and just go crazy with it. Yeah. And they've stumbled onto a formula which I think they'll never break, which is they make a full $100 Far Cry numbered sequel with like a new area, a new major villain, and they just throw as much money at that as they can, and they create this big old world, and it's really, it's good. People who like Far Cry will love it. You throw money on the co-op and all that kind of stuff, and then they take 12 months out to just develop a smaller spin-off sequel that releases at about $70 or $60 rather than a full price game, but it's using the same assets from the first game, just retweaked, redone, same map, add some go crazy with it, do something weird. And then release that like the following year or something else, and then they gives them time to build on the new one. Like, it's an absolutely great formula, and it will work for a couple more years, I think. But Days Gone, all they did was take a Far Cry game and just stick some zombies in it, and then take all the humor out,
and not build the mechanics that well.
No. Even just the little things about like the positioning of the buttons. Like, for my brain, I don't know why the weapon wheel was on L1, and it didn't...
It seems very PS3.
It just didn't seem right. I feel like it should be on R1. I should have the weapon wheel, and then I should be able to move because it's the right control stick you move to select the things.
Yeah.
I just feel like that...
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, maybe that's just me, but I feel like whatever stick you're using, you should be using the same triggers on that side, because you're using one hand.
Yeah.
And so it meant that I was always hitting the wrong button for the weapon wheel, and the weapon wheel doesn't stop time; it just slows it down. So
I don't mind that Mass Effect does that. So.
Yeah, but like in these kind of games, I prefer it to stop because I don't have a lot of health. I'm pretty squishy.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
There's a stamina mechanic, which I fucking hate. There's a skill tree, and like the skill tree is just I could go on and on and on and on, because it like I said, everything about this game is mediocre at best. When you throw it all together, it's just a bad experience. It just feels bad to do anything in that game, and therefore I don't want to do anything in that game. So sorry, Sony. Yeah, this one's a dud. This one is dead on arrival, which sucks. But hey, people are enjoying it because it reached number 1 in Australia on the PSN charts. Yeah. So people are enjoying it, and by all means, more power to them. Yeah. But for mine, that game is just.
It seems like it probably one of those. I was gonna say, like, mechanically sound game that you can just run in and just spend time in. A lot of people can enjoy zombies. Like, you may enjoy those characters, but like, could that probably make them out of taste as well? But and from what I've heard, it's pretty universally everything like nah.
Yeah, and like it's just one of those things where like I can't even see where the polish was, because I had a very specific instance where I didn't think this was going to happen, but it did, so it annoyed me a little bit, but it was fine. I did a part of the game, and I was like, I'm just going to call it there, because I thought it had saved. And it didn't, so it booted me back 20 minutes. So I was like, great, I have to do it again. It's a small camp area. I had to stalk these guys, and the first time I did it, it went pretty well. I snuck up behind the guy, stabbed him, snuck up behind a guy, stabbed him. It didn't tell me that it was over, so I was like, oh, there must be more of them. Snuck around the corner. Oh, cool, a couple of guys. Crossbow shot, they're silent kills, so that was good. Sneak back down, throw a rock, get a guy's attention, stab him, walk back over, throw a rock, get a guy's attention, crossbow bolt, and then final guy stab. And that was great. And I was like, that's fine, stealth mechanics, rob these guys, all that kind of stuff. Had to go back and do it again. Started the chain, did the exact same thing that I did the first times. Everyone was in the exact same positions they were the last time, except this time, when I snuck over, because at a certain point I was looking over a thing with my binoculars to, hit so I could get them all marked. Everyone was in the exact same positions, but instead this time, some guy from on the other side of the cliff saw me and triggered the alert, so it turned into a firefight. And I was like, I don't... And that is what has always driven me nuts about stealth mechanics, is that I don't actually know if the game AI actually sees me or if the code just broke.
Yeah.
I can't tell. You can never actually tell if you've stealthed correctly. Yeah. Because of the way stealth mechanics work, they are just so mushy. If you do this, you can't be seen, but if you do this, they can see directly at... there was no reason for him to be looking in my direction. I didn't do anything. I didn't make a sound. He didn't know anyone was dead. Yeah. I didn't throw any rocks. There was literally no reason. It was nighttime and it was raining, so he had no reason to look in my general direction, but he did. And because he did, he saw me. And the thing I think that always pisses me off about stealth mechanics is that if you saw someone off in the distance, you wouldn't immediately go, bad person, shoot. You would be like, who's that? Are you... You would take time. It would take time to register. And in that time, I would have the ability to be like, I want a stealth game that makes me go, oh, no, don't worry about it, and then just walk away. A stealth game that allows me to actually play it stealthy or try and
So it's no. Now I see what this system is. It's the seen immediately everything. That's why Assassin's Creed still has it, where it has the yellow meter, just they're checking it out.
Yeah.
There's the fucking bunch of stealth games do that shit.
Yeah.
Even stealth mechanic games, when they may not be about stealth.
I mean, maybe there was hey, someone's watching you, but I'm telling you, the UI is so muddy, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you what was going on that screen. It seems very clean and crisp because you've just got very, very light HUD elements on the corners of the screen, but then there is a bunch of stuff that's happening, and I'm like, I don't know, maybe it told me someone was watching me, but I didn't notice. Yeah.
I feel you would have noticed this mechanic, this feature, so...
Yeah.
But that's just...
Days Gone.
Don't play it.
I don't know, play it if you want to. I'm just telling you, I thought it was shit. Fuck. All right, well, you want to move on to the news?
Yeah, let's
How long
do
have we
that.
been going for?
An hour 16.
Jesus. All right, we should probably cut it there.
Yeah. Now let's go.
All righty. John Wick Hex by... What is this? What is this?
This was announced today.
How do I scroll?
2 fingers up and down.
2 fingers up and down.
The John... Bithell Games. Thomas Was Alone, Volume... that company has gone and partnered... Well, someone came to him and partnered him with John Wick. And it's called John Wick Hex. It's an original story. And it's basically... It's every time you do slow-mo in an action game, kind of I can't think of any examples, but every time you go slow-mo and then can pick options, it's that. Because the point is, you're John Wick, you make all these calculated decisions, and instead of doing that Max Payne, you're doing it like an actual kind of like a menu style, kind of like XCOM, but it's kind of real time, but it's all slowed down.
Okay.
So it just seemed very interesting, and the art style and the menu design looks very like the Bethel games.
Cool.
At the moment, it's only confirmed for PC and Mac through the Epic Store.
Okay.
But he always has them ported to consoles.
Steam fanboys riot.
Yeah. I mean, he's going to get more money, so I don't care.
Yeah, sure, whatever. Yeah. That's really cool. I really like the idea of that.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. I've played all of his games, so I'm going to probably buy this one when it comes to Switch.
Cool.
So yeah, that's that.
Cool.
Speaking of Epic.
Epic buys Psyonix. Makers of Rocket League. This one...
This is now where I'm up to... like, before I'm like, okay, Epic, do your thing. Like, I don't care if you're making another store, create competition.
I don't know.
But now it's like, you now have the biggest games as a service, and now you have another big one. Like, it's not the next biggest, but another big one.
Okay,
I'm like, okay.
This ties into a few more things that I think has been happening over the last couple of weeks. Fortnite's not the juggernaut it used to be.
No, but it's still pretty.
It's still the biggest. Like, don't get me wrong. It's still the biggest fucking game on the planet. Yeah. Absolutely. But I remember seeing the story where like the two winners of the most recent Fortnite tournament, were doing an interview recently, and they were just like, "Yeah, we don't like it. We play it. We just play it now because we have to."
I think that's just a them issue.
No, but like it seems to be a fairly common issue across the main community, is that a lot of people who are a lot of the main streamers who play Fortnite are only playing it 8 hours a day because it's what gets views on Twitch. If it wasn't for that, they wouldn't be fucking playing the game anymore, and that's a bad sign. Because if it's not fun to play, you can sure as hell bet it's not going to be fun to watch anymore, and those numbers will continue to tank.
And I think
on the other side of this though, with the Rocket League buy, these kind of deals don't happen within a few weeks.
Oh, no.
I am assuming this deal has been on the table for months, maybe even like a year or two or more.
Maybe, yeah.
The Epic Game Store only launched in December, right? Like, it wasn't long ago.
No, I want to say October to December last year.
Yeah, somewhere in the back half, the back quarter of last year. Long enough that Psyonix may not have known the Epic Game Store was going to be a thing when they were trying to negotiate this deal. Because Psyonix is they're just a developer. This is a publisher buying a developer. Wasn't necessarily a
store
platform distributor, like a distributor buying a developer. However, they have said that they want Rocket League to come to the Epic Game Store, which makes sense because, again, on the Psyonix part, you want your game in as many places as possible to buy it, for many people to buy as possible. So there's coming to the Epic Game Store. They say they have no plans to remove it from Steam, and that they will be continuing to support it on Steam. Now the question is,
how long?
Exactly. Will new DLC, like, will there be Epic exclusive content? I'm gonna say yes, because they're switching
it's exclusive and or timed exclusive.
Exactly. But here, and this is the thing. This is again where it gets all muddy though. Is that like a bunch of PC master races are going to be like, it's kicking in your Steam. And my answer is like, we've been doing this for years on console. If we can absolutely deal with the fact that there's exclusive content on the PlayStation, Xbox, and Switch, you can deal with your exclusive content from your free launcher. It's a free account. It's free.
It's free real estate.
Yeah. You just get the account, and then I know the launch is bad, but like, so what?
So was Steam.
Does it launch? Yeah, exactly. And that's the other thing, is that like people are like, oh, the Epic Game Store is shit. Like, yes, so was Steam. Do you remember 2008? Everyone hated Steam. No one wanted Steam. They had to like give you free games to get you to even sign up to Steam.
That's how I got Steam. They were giving away Portal. I'm like, okay, this game's good.
They're like, please, for the love of God, sign up to our thing. And then eventually they got good at it. Epic's going to be no different. It sucks now.
They'll probably get there quicker because one, they're the blueprint, and two, I think they're the demand.
The only thing is, you'd think they would have been better at it, given that Steam already went through it. You'd think that would happen.
I think they should have waited. there's probably a timeline where they wanted to wait an entire year, wait for it to be more feature complete, but instead they just upgraded the Fortnite launcher and just went from there.
Ooh, yeah, I mean, then there's the argument to be said that like there was probably some dude. There's a dude in that company who just all he does is wear glasses and crunch numbers. Yeah. And at some point he looked at the numbers and went, if we don't launch this now, it does not launch, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, I'll bet you that was the kind of decision. Not that it wasn't going to launch, but like given that Fortnite, like he probably saw a number dip on a chart and was like, well, yeah, basically was just like, like he probably just went, look, Fortnite's peaked.
Yeah.
Which I think is probably like what I was getting at with the other stories. Like I think Fortnite might have peaked.
Yeah.
Like it's now, again, it's not going to die.
No.
But I think
it's going to wow. It's going to be a game that just around forever.
Exactly. Because I think what these stories are kind of hinting at is that it reached its fever pitch. It took over the world
for an entire year.
Now it's gonna plateau out, and then it's gonna have its subscriber base and people that will always play it. Yeah. But it's never gonna go back to that height again because it's a known quantity now.
Yeah.
The reason Fortnite was so popular was because it was new.
Yeah.
Now it's not new anymore. No one wants it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's it's a weird thing. And you're right. They're gonna have another games as a servicey thing. Rocket League's different though.
Psyonix is different, and they are pretty good with their community, and I hope that they are able to keep that.
Yeah.
I hope that all this acquisition does is just let Psyonix let someone else handle their payroll, and like that's what most acquisitions are. Just like, hey, we'll deal with your payroll and the overhead and stuff like that. You just focus on making the game now.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you're EA.
Oh yeah, EA is fucked. We all know this. So yeah, well, we'll see, I guess.
Yeah.
Again, like I just want to quickly say, like every time Rocket League brought up, I always forget that it's not a free-to-play game.
No, it's not. You pay to get in.
Yeah.
It was free.
It was free through PS Plus, which is how everyone got it, and that's how it got noticed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so just weird.
Which is a model I think some people should take a look at. Is like, hey, maybe you should just launch free and then move to paid.
Yeah.
Especially if you can market it as a beta or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fuck. Jesus. Also, before we move on to the next story, I'm just going to say, fuck you, EA, because they had their earnings call again this quarter, and they made record profits and record revenue, and they still closed an entire studio in Australia.
Yeah.
Fuck you guys.
Yeah.
I thought Andrew Wilson was Australian too.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit. Sue me, I dare you, motherfuckers. Wouldn't that make our subscriber count go up?
It would do something.
EA... I fucking hate them now.
Yeah.
And like I'm still gonna buy that Jedi Knight game, Jedi Fallen Order or whatever.
If
it's good, I'm probably gonna buy it, and that's really pissy because I really don't want to give EA any money anymore.
Just buy a pre-owned copy.
No, because I want to give the developer money.
Yeah.
Because the developers respawn and they're good.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. That's the problem we live in, is that like I don't want EA to get any money from what Respawn did because they don't deserve it.
Yeah.
I stand by that. Anyway. What's next?
This is the thing I found. I was listening to podcasts. I'm like, I should check this out. Never got time to. Microsoft patents a Braille-based controller. Basically what it would be is like this weird, I think from what I heard, the stuff on the back screen would like highlight the text that's on screen, because like for a lot of vision impaired people, they're not 100% blind, they're just blind, like they just vision impaired.
Yeah.
So like you'd be able to like read the small font on the screen and be able to actually read that instead of like getting up to your TV going.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's just a pattern at the moment. Yeah, but like
that's a cool idea.
And you can also there's also an input thing. You can input with Braille, so instead of like having to go up to your screen again and going A or B, you can type in Braille.
I love that. I love that. That's a really cool idea. Yeah. Yes, please. Yes, do that.
What I was also thinking, instead of, I don't know how this would work in any case, but like for Sony, for next generation, to say, hey, those Microsoft controllers, just put them in a USB and we'll let you have them. Just like, and then you can just have like cross-industry support for it.
Yeah.
Because there's no point in having two markets there, but like, just let Sony see it as peripherals, like just a third-party controller.
Yeah.
And like
that'd be great.
The only problem
or even if the only other thing I can see Sony doing rather than, because they're probably not going to do that because they are still businessy.
Yeah.
But like you've got the Xbox adaptive controller,
yeah.
and then you've got all the things that plug into it.
Yeah.
Any accessory you want through a 3.5mm jack out in the back. Just have Sony be like, cool, we've done essentially the same thing. It's a base controller that's adaptive, and literally any accessory that you plugged into the Xbox One will work on ours as well. So like all you have to do really is buy one more controller.
Yeah.
I know it's not the best thing in the world, but I see that more than I see them just saying, here, use the Xbox One.
Yeah.
And I could see Sony justifying it as in like, well, you know, people buy extra controllers all the time.
Yeah.
People have different controllers anyway. You have a separate controller for your PlayStation and Xbox. I mean, I guess it would be no different for you having a second controller for your Xbox and PlayStation.
Yeah.
That being said, like the ideal solution here would be, yes, if someone like a third-party developer was to come up with a all-in-one solution, this is a controller you can use on Xbox, Switch, PlayStation for any person who might have any sort of disability playing any type of game and needs a different set of input rather than just the face buttons and thumbsticks. Would be really nice.
We're moving towards a more accessibility-friendly medium, and that's only a good thing.
Yes, like, it can only be a good thing. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm excited.
Yeah. Okay, Sega is refocusing on existing IP in response to falling profits. What, you mean like Sonic the Hedgehog?
And Persona, and the other Sega one. But yes, you're right. Yakuza.
Did you guys cover Sonic?
Yeah,
Sonic
we talked about it.
Trailer. Did you cover the change?
A little bit, yeah. We didn't actually talk about, because I think it happened that day.
That's what I was wondering what the timing was.
I hadn't thought about all the ramifications of that.
Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Congratulations, gamers. You brought crunch to the movie industry.
No, it's always been there. They just have unions and stuff like that.
Exactly, but like that's exactly. They have unions and stuff like that. So now they have to. But this is the first time. I've never heard of a movie doing this.
It's happened.
Name it.
I can't know the words. I can't remember anything off the top of my head, but I know like stuff was like, oh, we're changing this.
Yeah, they've done small changes, but like I've never heard of a movie changing an entire CGI character 6 months from release.
I feel like there's something, but I just can't remember it.
I feel like if the movie industry was to do this, it would feel like a big deal.
Yeah.
If a movie was to be like, we're changing an entire the way something looks, the way we have already finished it because it's cut and shot and done.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be a big deal, and that it would be the kind of thing that everyone remember. Like, hey, remember that movie that chopped and changed before it come out? You know, it's kind of like everyone knows like the Batman vs Superman stuff. Like the director's cut is the real movie because the actual the theatrical release was just chopped and changed so many times. It was a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
But that's not the same as but also it's not.
And it's not even Justice League bad. We're trying to CGI over a mustache.
Yes, yeah, and it's weird though as well.
I think that's more of what in line I'm thinking of. Just like, hey, we've got this character, the movie's shot, but like we need to get him back for a reshoot, and we can't remove the mustache. Yeah. Stuff like that.
Yeah, like, and that stuff happens, but it's the weird thing where like I've never heard of. It just felt wrong because it felt like a video game thing happened to a movie because the story of game releases, game has something the fans don't like, fans revolt and bitch and moan on social media, and then developer has to take stand and either change the product to suit the fans' ideas or leave it as is and take a stand. That only ever happens in video games. And then suddenly a video game movie comes out and the fans bitch and moan and whine on Twitter, and then the director of the movie has to be like, we heard you. Like, it was such a video game tweet that was just like, the response is loud and clear. We've heard the criticism. Like, it sounded like it came out of EA's mouth. Like, it was a press conference like, we've heard your criticisms, we're taking on the feedback, we're working hard to make it better, it will be as good as we wanted. Like, it was just exactly a video game tweet response. And that's bullshit. Because we had the discussion about Sekiro 3 or 4 weeks ago about artists' integrity and how so many people were like, you can't put an easy mode in Sekiro because it destroys the artistic integrity of the product. The artists want it this way, the artists want it that way. Then Sonic the Hedgehog comes out, it doesn't look the way you want it to, and you want them to change it. So fuck your artist integrity argument. Put an easy mode in Sekiro. Like, if you're gonna bitch that much about the way Sonic looked, fuck you. I need to get that out.
That's fair, I understand. But also,
so fucking frustrating.
It's a bad design. They shouldn't have gone with that.
No, of course. But, like, if you're going to do it, just stick by it. Because I was morbidly curious. I wanted to see bad Sonic. Like, I wanted to see what that looked like for an hour and a half on screen. Don't tell me you didn't either.
No, I didn't. I didn't. I wasn't going to watch the movie.
You're lying.
No,
because Now they're like, oh, we're going to fix it. We're going to change the way Sonic looks. And then I'm going to go see that version. Because I was going to go see this movie no matter what. Because I have to go see bad video game movies. It's my thing. But now... Which
means you're banned from Detective Pikachu.
Damn it. But now... I want to see what the original cut is. And I'm never going to. They're never going to release the original cut of this movie with bad Sonic with the teeth. Oh, I want to see it. I'm just like morbidly curious as to how bad it is. I want to see that weird fucking Sonic moving and doing shit.
Do you?
Yes! Yes! In the same way I want to see Pete Hines get on stage at Bethesda's press conference. It's the same fucking thing. I just want to see it just implode in front of my eyes.
Okay.
Oh man, Jim Carrey's gonna be lifting that movie. It's gonna be great.
I thought he was like I thought he was the worst part of that trailer.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
That fucking joke.
The worst part of the trailer was the music.
Oh, yeah.
I like Gangsta's Paradise, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But fucking what?
Yeah. No, I thought the scene with him and Neil McDonough was just like, this is in literally every other movie, every other kids movie especially. But it went on for way too fucking long.
It's a kids movie.
But like...
I mean,
kids movie can still have good comedic timing. That wasn't good comedic timing.
Yeah, I mean, again, trailers are cut differently, so like what the scene is in the movie, who knows? But I really liked the Sonic saying like, "Is that all you got?" And he was like, "No, thank you for asking." Like, I really liked that moment. I was like, "That's pretty good. That's pretty good." So like, yeah, it feels like it was. Feels like if it was named anything other than Sonic the Hedgehog, it would just be like a regular B-grade children's movie.
Yeah, it'd be Hop 2.
Yeah.
Whatever James Marston was in before this.
Yeah. So, the fact that it had the bad... Oh, God. I wanted to see it so bad. I'm almost heartbroken that we're going to get a better version of this movie now. Because
it's not going to be a better movie. It's just going to be a better designed Sonic.
But that's the thing is that like if the movie's bad,
which it probably will be,
and Sonic looks good, then But if the movie's bad and Sonic looks bad, like that's that. Like, I guess the question that I was asking going into this movie is like, what market were they trying to hit? And if your movie is bad but your Sonic looks good, then who's going to go see that movie? Because the movie's bad. So But if the movie's bad and the Sonic looks bad, then you pick up a new demographic of people like me who are just like, what is this train wreck? I need to see it. And it becomes a meme. It becomes ironic. It becomes Snakes on a Plane.
Yeah.
Or Sharknado.
Yeah, I guess. You know what the funny bit is? This movie probably was going to end in Sonic's world, and we were probably going to get, even in a post-credit, of Sonic, of like Tails and Knuckles, in line with original designed Sonic, like what the original movie designed Sonic. So two things happen. Either that's cut now, or you have this newly designed, normal-looking Sonic versus fucking weird-looking Tails and Knuckles.
God, yes.
In the original design aesthetic.
Yes.
And I want that. This is weird cognitive dissonance of
this movie.
Design.
Yeah, the movie is it's just so weird. I don't know what like looking at this story, like Sega's refocusing on existing IP, like it fucking better, because this movie is going to tank.
Yeah,
they're going to lose a lot of money on it, so they better start focusing on stuff.
I don't know if they probably didn't spend any money. They probably just like licensed it out to Paramount, yes.
Probably, but like again, if they license it,
it was gonna probably bring money in.
Yeah, then they can write that off now. Yeah. Basically, that was just a loss.
Basically, what I want out of this is that, refocusing on our original IP, I want them to do a Vanquish remaster or a Vanquish sequel.
Sure.
The 4K version on PC, I would just like that ported.
Yeah, ported. And then
Vanquish is great.
Yeah, Vanquish is good. Why not?
That's all I want.
Yeah, that's great.
But it won't happen. Instead, we'll get more Persona, Royals, and fighting games, and music games, and no Switch version ever.
What else does Sega have nowadays?
Yakuza. That's it.
What do they have that hasn't been done to death?
The new Yakuza game.
Judgment?
Judgment, yeah. Which is just Phoenix Wright meets Yakuza. Which seems interesting. I'm interested.
Because I was just looking at that list, like Persona, Sonic, Yakuza. Aren't we at like number 12 for all of those?
Oh, I guess.
Yeah. I would worry about those games like Final Fantasying themselves.
Well, Sonic's done that.
Like getting to a point where it's just like so much that people don't take it seriously anymore, or that you yourself as a studio don't know how to handle that IP anymore because you've just done it to death.
I mean, have you looked at Sega in the last 20 years? That's all they've been. That's all they've done.
Yeah, true. But they've been getting better. Like the last Yakuza games have been good.
Yeah.
And Persona 5 was great. So
because they're done by actual people. Well, I mean, Persona specifically done by
Atlas,
and they've just always made good games. They just happen to be published by a weird company.
Yeah, true. Oh well, I hope they do stuff like Vanquish and other IPs. Like it does bum me out that they're like, we're focusing on our existing IP instead of making new stuff.
I think they just they probably just need to, so that they can Capcom it and then just come back and...
I hope so.
Or this means we'll get Capcom level quality, like next Sony games, like Resident Evil 7. Like, I don't think that's ever going to happen, but...
No.
But yeah. Speaking of weird Japanese companies...
Kingdom Hearts. I promised myself I would stop listening to Kingdom Hearts news, so tell me, what's going on?
At the concert in Japan, they said the DLC coming. The DLC will include an extra scenario.
It's called Remind?
Remind.
Oh, fuck you.
We're going to have a whole everything. A limited episode, which you know what the fuck that means, and an extra boss, and then a secret episode and another boss. And then the Japanese version will get the English voice actors track, which hopefully that means we get the Japanese one. And I understand, like, why the Japanese would want the English version, because there's a bunch of Disney characters that didn't, like... If you're a Disney purist in Japan, you'd want to watch the English version instead of the Japanese. Yeah. You just watch it with Japanese subtitles, the way it's subs first dubs, but reversed.
Yeah.
And I understand it because Japan loves Disney.
Yeah.
So I understand that. Mickey in Japanese is weird. Mm-hmm. And then they're getting a new Keyblade for free. And then there's also paid stuff coming out, like the pre-order bonuses are now like $4.55. We'll get a trailer for this at E3, more than likely.
I fucking hate this. I hate this. That's barely a DLC.
It's probably like the episode is probably like an actual like 2-hour thing. They'll probably announce the season pass, and we'll get 9 more stuff of all the characters that they didn't talk about properly.
We talked about this on the Kingdom Hearts 3 spoiler cast, where it's just like my fear with this is that all of, like the limit episode and the secret episode are going to be so incredibly important to the overall story. Like it's going to be so crucial that if you miss that part, like 10 years from now, there are going to be people in our position being like, now, during the secret episode in the DLC of Kingdom Hearts 3, if you miss this bit, like, oh, man.
What you do then is you wait for all the DLC to be done. You buy Kingdom Hearts 3 Complete Edition.
Reminded?
No, the whole... Oh, no.
Remembered Edition?
Yeah, I remember that this came out. And then, yeah. And then play like that, like you want to do with 15.
I don't. Yeah, that's the difference. I want to do that with 15. I don't want to do that with Kingdom Hearts.
That's fair.
Like, I'm done. I am done.
Yeah.
Done.
If there's anything important,
done.
I'll let you know. I think there'll be like little important stuff, but nothing.
I'm gonna make a prediction. Those two episodes are gonna be as important to the overall Kingdom Hearts story as Union Cross is.
Union Cross has, for the future, maybe.
Yes. It is going to be that important, which is very important, because if you didn't play Union Cross, the ending to Kingdom Hearts 3 made no fucking sense.
One bit of Kingdom Hearts 3 didn't.
The ending of Kingdom Hearts made no fucking sense.
The entire ending?
No, it doesn't. Tell me, if you didn't play Union Cross, what the fuck those 4 beings were at the end who just rocked up.
Oh, that ending.
Yeah, okay. The ending.
I thought you meant like the general ending of the thing, not the secret ending.
No, from the moment where you start hitting a button and there's a bunch of names appearing on screen to the end of that all makes like half as much sense as it should.
The only Union Cross part in that part is the names coming up, and then the rest of it's just weird Kingdom Hearts lore. Like, that's not that game. And then it's the secret ending that ties back into that.
Again, yes.
But the secret ending.
But the thing is, the secret ending is the ending. You can't just say like it's a secret ending. It doesn't count. It does.
It does.
It 100% does.
I'm like, yeah, the rest of like the fighting Xehanort.
This is the problem with Kingdom Hearts as a whole, is because there's always things where you're like, well, no, it doesn't really matter. Like, yes, it does. All of it matters.
It does. The only thing that hasn't mattered is the Facebook game, which is just a gummy mission. What is it? Just a match 3.
No, the gummy ship has never mattered.
No. But
that's what I'm saying. It's going to be as important as Union Cross, because I bet you if you miss this, then in Kingdom Hearts 5 something will happen and you'll go, huh? And then someone will be like, oh, no, it's from the secret episode from the DLC of Kingdom Hearts 3. Oh, this fucking game. If they don't announce something substantial, I'm going to fucking scream.
Everyone's going to be thinking this is Shion's episode Shion. Because she comes out of nowhere in that game. I suppose spoilers for Kingdom Hearts 3.
The game's like 5 months old now. Who cares? Also, if you still care about Kingdom Hearts 3 after listening to me talk about it, then
it's probably just a Shion episode, which means I don't know.
They're not good at those. Was episode Ignis any good?
Yeah, Ignis was good.
What about Prompto?
Was fine. Gladio was not good.
Okay.
Arden haven't played.
I don't like this. I
don't like this reality.
I don't like this. No, this is the worst timeline. I hate it. I just don't like the idea of like these like single episodes for these characters that I don't give a fuck about.
Don't play them.
I'm not going to. But no, the problem always has been, especially with Kingdom Hearts, is that people are like, well, don't play them. And it's like, well, then I'm not going to play them, and then I'm going to read a wiki before the game comes out. I'm still going to be confused because I didn't play the game. Also, I think the thing that really pisses me off is this always takes away from anything else that this team could be doing. This team could be literally doing anything else on the planet and I'd be more happy.
DLCs usually do smaller teams and then...
It's still a waste of resources.
I guess.
It's a waste of resources. You're doing literally anything else on the planet.
Kingdom Hearts 4.
Porting Octopath Traveler. That's what they should be doing. Porting Octopath Traveler to everything.
I think Nintendo's got that one tied up.
I don't care.
Let's move on.
Yeah.
You know what else you don't like? I should have moved this up earlier.
EA Access, yeah, it was coming to PS4, which is fine.
One thing that was pointed out is that when EA Access was first like, hey, Sony, do you want it? Sony's like, fuck no!
Yeah.
It's not worth anything. Why should you pay $5 a month for this piece of shit?
Yes, yeah.
4 years later, you can have it.
Well, that's the thing is that like Sony, basically, what was the wording? It was like...
Pretty much what I said.
It was not a good value proposition for our Sony customers or whatever. But EA Access has been around now for like 4 years or whatever.
Yeah, it has a proper library.
Yeah, and now Sony's like, well, actually, now $5 a month seems right. Yeah, all right. Which is fair.
It is actually fair. Like, if you're going to present something and it's just like... If Sony went to someone and said, hey, do you want PlayStation Now on your...
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we don't.
The early access...
Now that they have download and the streaming's a little bit better, people would be like... Oh, okay, we might.
It was just
the exact same situation.
It was just early access to a bunch of shit that didn't exist at the time.
Yeah.
And the question here is, there's a bunch of games that are 360 games that are in the EA Vault, which you get access to through EA Access, and how that works.
PS3.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, they're games that will be PS3, like the on Xbox. They are 360 games, so the work has been done for backwards compatibility on that system. Those games. Two things happen. One, PlayStation's been secretly working on some sort of backwards compatibility for the PS3, and those things are available through EA Access. Or two, anything that isn't a PS4 game is not available on
3, this thing doesn't come to Australia. It only comes to places with PlayStation Now. Thus, the only way you can get those PS3 titles is through streaming those PS3 games.
All of those are distinct possibilities.
I think
because Andrew Wilson has proven that he doesn't give a shit about Australia.
Yeah.
Even though he comes from here. God, what a cunt. I hope I never meet him at some point in my life. Hi, Andrew Wilson. Don't Google me.
To be fair, I think your name... yes, it does. It's in the description.
Yes.
What was I going to say? I don't know. PS Now's weird.
It is weird.
I would like to see what it looks
EA Access is weird.
It is weird.
Because, the way they do everything.
I think
they also did part of their earnings call. Yeah, they were talking about they're wanting to restructure the way they do game releases.
Yeah, no, I tried to read an article, but the way the quotes and then the structure, the article around it was just weird.
Yeah. But they haven't said what they're doing. They're just like, we're looking at restructuring the way our games release. Yeah. And it just, once again, it's EA being like, no, we're not the problem, you're the problem. Yeah. Like, once again, they're like, oh, no, Anthem is good, which it's not. It's just the way we release the game that's the problem. I was like, no. Yeah. I mean, yes, you should have given them another 12 months of development. Yeah. But... this just leads me to believe that the next time they do a live service game, which is going to happen, they're going to do basically. I don't think they thought there was a problem with that stupid graph that kept popping up around last year and the year before about EA being like, here's how you can play our latest game, and there's 27 different ways you can play the game, all with different release dates. And everyone was like, this is shit. What are you doing? They think that's a good thing. And I think they're going to do more of it.
What that article does go on say in terms of the release is that they want to start launching stuff in China and the East so that they can get a smaller sample size. And they just they don't want to build into the hype. They want to change the hype. In terms in the West, we focus on the hype and build up everything to this one day and then boom. Mm-hmm. And then what's the service crash?
No, they want to change the hype because that is the way that the West builds hype and the way that we build hype around release dates means that every time EA releases a game, they get shat on. They want to change that because it means that if things are more lulled like they are in the Chinese markets where there is gradual releases and not so much a single release date, it means that their shit shows of games get lost in the shuffle. Yeah. That's what they want. I can't stand this company. They just infuriate me on every level.
And it's a very, very different infuriation to Square Enix. Square Enix is just bizarre.
No, they're just making dumb mistakes. I just don't know. I just don't know.
They still release games and they still They're just weird.
They're just weird. Like Square Enix again is like the infuriating thing about Square Enix is that I like their games, and then everything else around it just seems to be like it's controlled by a 5-year-old who doesn't know what they're doing. They're just like, I'm gonna do this today. You're like, all right.
I guess Chocobo Racing is gonna be in State of Play tomorrow. Like,
oh boy, yeah. And they're just like, I want to make a new Kingdom Hearts. And everyone's like, that's great. That's a great idea. And I only put it on the PSP. And you're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? What are you doing? Stop! That's what Square Enix is.
Yeah.
Whereas EA is just like constantly like they are the most narcissistic of the game companies, I think. Because nothing is ever their fault. They have never fucked up, apparently. They just continually push the blame or find a reason why their current thing isn't doing so well, yet continue to generate all this money. Yeah. They're basically Donald Trump in video game developer form. Because no matter how much they fuck up, they continue to fail upwards.
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do about their position. They're just there, and they will cause the apocalypse. I don't know how, but they will.
They're called the second video game crash 2.
Yeah. They're just infuriating. I'm just so sick and tired of them coming up with whatever excuse they want to try and weasel their way out of just saying, we fucked up.
I think that comes from them having stakeholders and not an open, a public.
They got shareholders,
public company.
Yeah.
I think that's the issue because, like, as soon as you admit you fuck up, stocks go down, etc. It's just dumb.
Stocks are going down anyway. They lost what was it last year where they just or the year before when the Star Wars Battlefront 2 stuff was happening, they wiped out like a quarter of their share market. They're just gone. Jesus. It was just gone in a day once everyone wanted to get out. And the US Senate is introducing legislation to outlaw loot boxes. So if that happens, EA is fucked. Like, they don't have a leg to stand on anymore. Because they can't just... Like, their shareholders better be sweating. Because this was the problem with EA recently, is that there was a distinct issue with the way they were doing their games, with loot boxes and this kind of monetization baked into the very core of it. And them thinking this is the only way they can continue to make, like, you know, continual revenue off of the individual games. And they never addressed it properly. They just band-aided it until basically everyone forgot about it and they left it alone. And that got the shareholders back on side because they were like, oh, we're back to making money now. And they failed to address that issue, and they failed to address that issue, and they failed to address that issue. And now there's a possibility that they are going to be legislated out of making that money anymore. And if FIFA and Madden and those games don't have those loot box systems in them anymore, that revenue hits basically zero.
Yeah.
And that company tanks, and then you're going to have a bunch of shareholders who may have the ability to sue, because I know that in America specifically, companies are legally obligated to do what's best for their shareholders. They have to do that.
Yeah.
If I'm a shareholder looking at EA, I'm looking at them not addressing the loot box issue as a core problem with the company. And if they don't address it before this happens and then we're suddenly legislated out of making money, I would put that at negligence on EA's side. Because they knew this was a problem. They did it anyway. The community backlash happened. We lost profit, but we could have gained it back if we had rebuilt trust with the gaming community. They haven't. They just refuse to try and build that trust back up, and I don't know why. Again, Andrew Wilson just strikes me as the kind of person who's going to ride that horse till it dies.
Yeah.
And when he dies, he's just got a golden parachute, and off he goes.
Yeah. It just sucks because there's a lot of talented developers. I'm like, it'd be a good thing if EA does. Like, no, like DICE is talented, Respawn talented, BioWare is talented. Like, I don't want them to get lost to the winds and have to do weird Kickstarter to like, here's a BioWare-esque game. Remember the glory days of BioWare?
Yeah.
Like I get why that exists in that market because that happened during the 90s, but like, I don't want Obsidian making not KOTOR 2, 3, whatever.
Yeah, you know no. It sucks. EA sucks. Can we move on? Please, for the love of God.
Your next favourite topic, State of Play. There's another one tomorrow.
Oh, is there one tomorrow?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that'll be nice.
Yeah, it'll probably be VR focused again. I think they said there's one big major announcement.
Okay.
Means, I don't know.
Cool.
Doctor Strange VR.
Great.
Square Enix keep teasing stuff. Like, they kept showing the Chocobo from Final Fantasy VII and having, like, Chocobo text, like, where? And it was like, okay, is it Chocobo game?
Chocobo kart racing.
Chocobo racing is a thing.
Yeah.
Mystery Dungeon just came out, but I think that is on PS4. I know it's on Switch.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know, we'll see. And then we're going to have to talk about... We'll have to talk about next week, because it's going to be a clusterfuck.
What do you mean?
Well, I'll probably want to... We'll see whether it's newsworthy or not.
Yeah.
State of Play 2. But we'll have to talk about when we're doing filming next week, if we are at all.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of shit. But, we'll see how that goes. Maybe just write an article about it instead. That might be a good idea.
Just recap. That'll be like the couple of news, and we don't have to go through it thoroughly. We can just treat it like a quick direct or something.
Yeah, cool. All right.
Which is what these are.
Here are the two big stories. How long have we been going for?
We are at 2 hours.
2 hours total. Boy, oh boy. You might want to cut this into 3.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Alrighty.
Depending on... Okay. Where do you want to start?
I don't know. Like, you seem to have more thoughts on Randy Pitchford than I do.
I do have thoughts on Randy Pitchford.
I just, like...
Have I told the story when I saw Randy Pitchford in person?
No, you haven't.
Oh, really? Okay. I went to the first PAX in Australia, and he was there.
Okay. He's always at PAXs. I know he's at PAXs in America.
I have
around.
So the reason I want to talk about this is because I have a weird mental relationship with Randy Pitchford. I don't know the guy, but I saw him give a panel at PAX.
Yeah.
And there was something about him. He's very charming, very well spoken. On the panel, he was on the panel with Pete Hines from Bethesda.
So it was wow, what a panel!
It was a really good panel. It was Pete Hines from Bethesda, the lead, one of the lead developers from Media Molecule.
Interesting.
And another head, I think it was like an executive producer from Criterion. What was Criterion? They had moved on and done something else, but basically they spent the entire panel going, "Remember Burnout 3? We made Burnout 3."
Oof.
Yeah, and it was a bit rough. But they got to a section where they did some Q&A, because it was kind of like a games in development panel, and there was some fairly generic questions from the crowd, but one of them was talking about like with your intellectual property specifically, if you come up with something and a bigger company wants to give you some money to make it and all that kind of stuff, what do you do about the intellectual property side of things? And Randy Pitchford gave the answer that I thought was really refreshing, which he said was like, fuck them. If they want to give you money to do a thing and they want to buy the intellectual property, no, you made that thing. That's yours. Yeah. You keep the rights to the IP. If they want to give you money so they can take a little bit of the profits, okay, but it's your fucking thing. Fuck them. You get to keep it.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's pretty refreshing, actually, and nice. They also told the story about Borderlands 1, which I thought was really cool, where when they were going through the QA, they were doing the early part of the game. And at the very start of Borderlands 1, you've got all the skags, those dog fucking things. And he said that it was really funny because like when they first did their first batch of Q&A, the biggest complaint they had in the Q&A was there are too many skags. Too many skags, too many skags, too many skags. He's like, all right, cool. Their solution was double the skags and put a sign that says Skag Valley. And it worked. They didn't have to do a fucking thing.
Holy shit.
Yeah. That's exactly what he said. He's like, we just doubled the skags and put a sign that said Skag Valley. Everyone knew what they were getting into. No one complained. Second QA test was fine.
Jesus Christ.
And I was like, holy, like, That's actually genius. Like, people complain about things because they don't know what's going on.
Yeah.
Like, just spell it out for them and they won't complain anymore.
Yeah.
It was such a beautiful... And so, I've always had this view of Randy Pitchford. He's very charming. He's very well-spoken, and he's a very interesting person. I find his mind fascinating. It might be broken, though, is the problem here. Because he's lost it a little bit.
Yeah.
It was the reveal for Borderlands 3 gameplay that happened this past week. He gets up on stage and he basically says, I'm going to paraphrase, but he does say something that amounts to no microtransactions will be in Borderlands 3. He does preface it by saying that we will be doing upgrades and cosmetics like Borderlands 2, but there will be no microtransactions in Borderlands 3. Game Informer releases a article later on that's like, hey, we know Randy said there'd be no microtransactions, but you can buy cosmetics. So...
Yeah. A lot of discussion I've heard around that is that, like, his terminology is very 2012, 2014? When did Battleborn come out? It's my 2015. That's what I'm doing. Like, that was the last game they put out.
2015. I was still working at an EB Games. 16. 16, I'm thinking. Yeah.
So yeah, like that's the last time they put out a game. That's why Battleborn failed. Like, if I'm going by that logic, but they haven't actually like put out a Borderlands game since 2012. Oh, yeah, 2012 they didn't do pre-sequel.
Yeah.
So, like, microtransactions mean very, very differently to what they did.
Well, he just didn't like. The thing was he misspoke.
But he misspoke confidently.
Yeah, no, but what he meant to say was because he knew what he was saying.
Yeah.
But you're right. The vernacular he's using is older.
Yeah.
Because what he meant to say is no loot boxes.
Yeah.
No loot boxes, no pay to win.
Yeah.
Which is the terms that we use now for shitty microtransactions. Yeah. But he just said no microtransactions as a blanket statement.
Yeah.
And when someone called him on it, instead of saying, yeah, whoops, misspoke, sorry, he said something like, why would you fuck me on this, Game Informer?
He just doubles down on it. I'm like,
yeah.
What? Just learn that, like...
Yeah.
We have microtransactions, and a lot of them are good. Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. Just bow
Apex.
out.
Yeah. Just like... We have good microtransactions, and no one fucks with them. They're cosmetic, and like...
An interesting thing that I saw pointed out was that, like, it's really funny how everyone's like, oh, microtransactions, as long as they're only cosmetic, is fine. But the first ever microtransaction to make people get pissed off was a cosmetic microtransaction. The horse armor.
Yeah.
Like...
It's just, like... I think to that point, we've accepted that companies still want to keep making money off their games because their games are now exorbitantly expensive to make. And if the gamers want to keep that high quality, we want to keep those games coming in.
Raise the price of games.
Yeah, which they keep doing in Australia. The only place that doesn't do that is America. It is locked at 60. I think everywhere else there's like we have from the 69 to the 99 range. Like
Yeah, but no game is very, very, very rarely is a game over $99.95.
No, but then you get the point of like Ultimate Editions and stuff like that's raising the price.
But that's not that's not what I mean. I'm saying raising the base price of games.
Yeah, raise
the base price of games. I mean, in Australia, it's weird because we're already getting like there have been games recently that have been 110. Resident Evil launched at 110 as its RRP. Resident Evil 7.
7, okay.
Mm-hmm. Its base RRP was a $109.95, and there's been a couple of those recently.
Interesting. The last time I remember that happening was GTA 5 in 2013.
Well, it's not uncommon though in Australia. Well, it wasn't uncommon.
Yeah,
for the longest time, if you bought a game on PS3, its RRP was $109.95. The Xbox 360 version was $99.95.
Weird.
Yeah, there was a $10 premium on Blu-rays.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And then for the longest time, it's been like $99.95 across the board. There have been a few Japanese release games that have released specifically at 110.
Yeah.
There've been really good games, really polished games that you're like, fuck, man, that's like a lot of, like, it's a good game.
Yeah.
And games where the extra $10 didn't seem like that big of a deal. And that would be better than this microtransaction bullshit, in my opinion. In my opinion, I'm sick of microtransactions. I'm sick of buying extra content, put all my content on the fucking disc. I'm tired of it. Yeah. Mostly because DLC doesn't ever go on sale now. Like, once it's out, it's out.
Yeah.
And it still costs...
Be patient.
But it means that, like, it's still going to cost me, like, $50 to pick up a copy of, like, Mass Effect 3.
Yeah.
Like, all of its content is still fucking ridiculously expensive when the game is, like, $10 pre-owned. Why should I be paying $15 for the digital content? Like, the game itself is 30 or 40 hours. The digital content is like an extra 5. Why is the digital content twice as much as the fucking game?
I think that's the point of it, is that, like, these games come down in prices, but the digital additional content remains the normal price, so that they can keep, no matter how you buy that original game, whether it's new but just lower price or pre-owned, they can still make money.
Yeah, but at this point, they're making money. Like, what what are they trying to recoup at this point? 10 years after release of Mass Effect.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Money, yeah.
Like, it's just more money. It's just more money for the sake of more money.
Which is why I like complete editions.
Yeah.
And they come down in price. Royal Edition you can get for fucking cheap now.
Yeah, that's fine. Like, I just want all the stuff, like, but again, the thing is, like, I want to play a game when it's out, when it's hot, when it's in the zeitgeist. I'm not going to go back and play those games again and again and again. I'm getting older. I'm an adult now. I've got other shit to do than replay. Like, the reason I haven't played for I haven't bought the re-releases for Final Fantasy is because, like, I got shit to do. They're 70-hour games. I know, like, what they entail. I want to play other games, and I will play other games.
Yeah.
I've picked up another game. I'm gonna go. Hopefully, sometime this week, I will be diving into Star Ocean. I picked up a Star Ocean game because I've never played them. I'm fascinated by the idea of them.
Okay.
I picked up specifically Star Ocean, Integrity and Faithlessness.
Okay.
So I'm going to see what that's like.
Is that the new one?
It's a PS4 one. I think it might not be. That's not the new one. I think it's the one before.
Okay.
I don't know.
But yeah, Randy.
Yeah, then Randy went on like a 4-hour tweet storm. Fucking just went on and on and on, and he just did not stop. And I am afraid that this might have a negative impact on Borderlands 3.
I think there'll be a couple of people that are like, I don't want to buy it because of Randy. I think that's going to be minimal impact.
No, I don't mean because of Randy. I just think that, like, there's certain games out there that when they're announced, there's not a lot of hype for them. Yeah. But as the industry builds behind it, you start to get more and more hype for it. And even with the gameplay reveal, like, it all just seemed very samey.
Yeah.
I didn't seem like it got the idea of, like it definitely felt like, okay, this is a modern Borderlands game, but not in the way that, like, Borderlands created a genre. Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't think that's what they're going for. I think Battleborn was them trying to create a genre, but it just came out the same month as...
I know. Yes, yeah, I know. But, like, the other thing is, like, that's kind of what Borderlands is, though. It created a new genre of game, a game that everyone wanted to keep playing. And so when Borderlands 3, which is the fourth Borderlands game, comes out, and you're doing the same shit over and over again, at a certain point that's diminishing returns. Maybe this is more of a criticism of Gearbox rather than Borderlands, but, like, I want them to do something new.
And they've tried that. They've tried so many different things and they keep fucking it up.
Well, it's because they haven't actually tried something new. Battleborn was just Borderlands but MOBA.
Battleborn, even like pre that, Alien Colonial Marine, they did that's an outlier with that one.
Both of them, they're just like fucking black stains on the gaming.
Oh, I mean, like, Duke Nukem was just a weird thing because of its 20-year development.
Yeah.
Whereas Alien Colonial Marine, they could have made that a good game. It was just fucked.
They just lied.
Yeah.
To our faces.
And then I want to say there's another game. There probably isn't, but like
that's kind of it.
Yeah, and like they've tried to do it, and it doesn't work. Borderlands the only thing that's worked for them, and like everyone's saying like how much Borderlands 3 feels like Halo. Like, oh, that's right, they did the PC port of Halo. Like, they know how to make a shooter, and they're just gonna stick to that to deal life. I'm
probably gonna pick that game up, but I just don't care about it now. I was like kind of excited for it, but this all kind of left like a bad taste in my mouth, and I was just like, oh man. And I feel bad for the developers at Gearbox because they didn't do anything wrong. Yeah. And they're just their boss. They're just their boss. Yeah, just being fucking weird and getting into like shit fights on Twitter.
Someone at 2K needs to come in and say, "Hey, come to farm." Like,
yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah, the PR people at 2K or at Gearbox need to walk into his office and just take his phone off of him and be like, "Dude, you're on vacation. Like, go on vacation for like 6 months."
Yeah.
Just go on vacation from now until Borderlands 3 releases. Yeah. We got the PR. We got the marketing. We'll just do it. Just go. Yeah. Just go. You can come back and do your weird magic and your weird shit when you get back. Just leave us alone while we launch this game. Because that's all it needs, is just that time. But the back and forth has been really weird. And yeah, I just fear for the game now. Because I feel like it's just kind of... It went from like, oh shit, yeah, Borderlands 3 to kind of like, oh, well, I guess that's just another one on the pile.
From what I can tell, a lot of people are still super excited for it. Like, I'm not a Borderlands fan. I try to play 2. I'm just like, I'm not into that because you basically have to have friends to play it. Otherwise it's just a dull shooter. I think like a lot of people are excited for this because it is. A lot of people have been wanting Borderlands 3.
Yeah.
It's been asked for ages, but now that it's time that's the Fallout thing, like being announced coming out by the end of the year.
Yeah.
Even quicker than that. Like it's just like, let's go Borderlands 3. And I think like people are excited. Like it is a game that like I think a couple of people who are paying attention to Randy are going to be like, but then I'll get the game and going to be like, whatever, this is great. People will play the beta and it'll be fun.
Is there a beta?
Probably. No. They haven't announced it, but I can just see them doing one.
It seems like the kind of thing they wouldn't do.
And if they want to be good guys, they want to. But
yeah,
you don't want to. Betas are a good thing, I think, because they should be.
I don't think they are. Well, because
in theory they are. But the changes never actually come over. Like,
no, because betas.
Little server loads.
Betas are good 12 months out from release when they're closed and no one knows about them.
Yeah.
That's a beta.
Yeah.
The beta build is given around the office and to the QA team to figure out what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
The betas that we have them as, they should be just called demos. I don't know why the industry doesn't just call them demos. Because that's what they are.
They are.
Because there is literally no change the company can make in 1 week that will actually serve any purpose on the final product.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is...
Sorry, the quote-unquote final product. Because fuck knows they're not actually final anymore.
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that because betas are using multiplayer, they're not the final... The day one code is not a point. It's not 1.0. It's the 0.9.
Yeah,
and that's technically still beta. Like,
yes, it's not. Yes, technically not the final thing, but that doesn't matter because again, there is no change that can be made. Yeah. The only thing that they can do is like server stress test.
Yes, that's why I don't mind. Like, a lot of fighting games just have them called like Dead or Alive 5 server test.
Yeah, they just
test demo.
Yeah, they just call them stress tests. Yeah, they're like, oh, we're just going to do a stress test on our netcode. Here, play it for 3 hours.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, okay, sweet. Yeah. Just call them that. Like the beta thing, I think rubs me the wrong way because I think it is willfully misleading. Telling the consumer, you get to play it early so that you can find out all the bugs and fix it. It's like, no, because we had a beta for Fallout 76. Guess what the fuck happened? Yeah. It's still launched broken and buggy because you cannot physically get the changes done unless you crunch into oblivion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think betas are bullshit. Just call them demos and call it a day. Yeah. But the thing is, what they don't want is the beta to be what they're trying to get out of is when the beta is buggy, they can just call it, oh, it's just beta bugs. Yeah. And then they can tell their poor workers to crunch for the next 72 hours to fix those bugs so that when the game does launch, it doesn't have those small bugs. Ugh. Whereas if it was 1.0 and it released that buggy, they get hounded for it. It's all just. Yeah, the beta's rugby the wrong way because it's all just misdirection so that when the game does release and it's fucked, you don't think as much about it because you can be like, well, this bug was in the beta. Like, no, that wasn't a beta. It wasn't a beta. It was the actual finished product. The only difference is that it wasn't like there's one line of code that's like, now it's live. Like, that's literally the difference between the two. And everyone's like, well, it was in the beta. Like, no, it's basically the same thing.
Anything else you could say about this?
No, I just wish Randy Pitchford would go away.
He needs to sit down.
Yeah, just shh.
Especially like everyone keeps like, you harassed or assaulted me, and he's like, no, I didn't. Fuck off.
Yeah, like he just needs to go away. Yeah. Go away and let the lawsuits sort themselves out. Yeah. He's also like one of those. He's weird in the video game industry. Is that he's got like the most. I feel like he's probably not, but he feels like he's the single figure that has the most number of pending lawsuits against him. Because he had so many since Alien Colonial Marine. Because they had like their lawsuits, and then there's been just constantly, every single year, there's something new. So, dude, just chill. Seriously.
Yeah, the only other person or company I can think of is David Cage /
Quantic Dream, yeah. They're bad.
Yeah. For the shenanigans.
Oh, I don't know. Well, it turns out Riot's not great either.
No, well, turns out we've known this for about 6 months now.
Yeah.
It's got real bad. Video game walkout. Industry walkout.
I have heard more stories since the original story in like 6 months ago out of Kotaku. Because the walkout has happened, there has been more coming out. Like, that place sounds like it was a fucking shit show.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit. The first walkout in video game history.
Which is kind of surprising, but
also not surprising when you think about it. Like, how many times... It's much likened to... the wrestling industry has the same problem. They're not unionized either. Yeah. They are independent contractors.
John
Oliver. Yes, he did. And it's fantastic, and you should watch it. Yeah. Yes, and it's absolutely brilliant. Yeah. He perfectly encapsulates my entire fandom, my love of wrestling, in 25 minutes. Like, everything he says is just me. I'm just like, yes. It's exactly what I think, 100%.
Cool.
But they have the same problem, which is unionization has been brought up over the decades. Since like the 1980s, there's been at least one or two wrestlers every couple of years who's like, we should probably unionize. That'd be a great idea, right? But the problem is that the way the industry is structured, it's like, if you start talking about unionization, they can just kind of sideline you because there's 100 other guys who would like to replace you and your 7-figure salary.
Yeah.
So what you gonna do? And the answer is usually, shut my mouth and I'll go wrestle now, boss. Yeah. And it's the same with the video game industry, is that like, you could talk about organizing and unionizing, but there are so many people that want to get into the industry that if they think that you're going to be a liability, they'll just kick you to the curb and hire the next team that wants to do the coding for you.
Now that I think that the audience, not the entire audience, but a big chunk of the audience is kind of on board with the idea of some sort of unionization for people. I think there's less of that, of the shush and go away, we'll hire a new person. We're getting a proper walkout.
I think it's also because the journalistic side of the industry has also transitioned. There are a lot more stories about like labor conditions, issues with game development, and the people behind game development. There are a lot more people pushing those stories, and they are getting out there, and those stories are getting traction and getting speed and getting numbers. It is a lot more difficult for companies to now ignore the claims and ignore the idea.
Especially when like a lot of those journals are doing proper journalism and doing multiple sources. Like,
good work,
Everything Schreier does, well, not everything. His big Anthem one had like 20 different people on the thing. And like,
I know the Riot walkout was dropped by Waypoint and Kotaku? Polygon, yes. They both worked on it at different places. They had multiple sources as well. They had known about it for a while.
And like,
sorry, it's not Waypoint anymore. It's Vice Games.
Ew.
They rebranded, yeah.
It made me think of yes, Vice, and that's not.
It is Vice, like it's Vice.com. So they're no longer Waypoint. They're Vice.com/games.
Waypoint better. Go back.
You can still go to waypoint.com and it just redirects you. But yeah, they've basically like streamlined that whole thing, and now Waypoint will be working like more closely with other parts of the Vice thing, like things like Motherboard, the other games, because they had Waypoint and then they had Motherboard, two gaming things, but they had zero connection. Now they have meetings and they talk with each other, so they can actually talk to each other, because apparently the Motherboard guys were working on this story as well, and they didn't, and then they were starting to cross talk, and like what would have taken Waypoint months to get this full story out, they were able to do within a month and get like an actual like, hey, we got a scoop for you, because the Motherboard guys came in and were like, here's a bunch of stuff we heard as well. So is this restructuring? Shout outs to Waypoint, but. Yeah, what was it, like 150 to 200 people?
So,
yeah.
Which is
walked out.
Like, I think is it like 1,000 people who work it?
Yeah, it's some like a fairly sizable chunk of their workforce.
750 to 1,000.
Somewhere in there, yeah. They're walking out specifically to protest the arbitration, the forced arbitration.
What does that mean?
Okay.
You keep throwing that word around with no context. I'm like, am I still a child, or is this like an actual big person word?
It is a big person word. Okay, so in America, I don't know how this works in Australia. I probably should, because I work here. I live here. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
But in America, obviously they can be they're very litigation happy over there. Suing. I'm going to sue you. In America, there is a lot of different companies that have clauses which allow for private arbitration. What that is when a lawsuit is brought against a company, the company can move for private arbitration, which means the person who's bringing the lawsuit forward, the company's lawyers, and a assumedly third-party mediator go into a private room, they sort out the problem, and then it all goes away. The reason being is that if a lawsuit goes to court, the documents in that lawsuit become public. And no company wants their sexual harassment lawsuits to become public. So a lot of different companies put clauses in their contracts over the last couple of decades that mean that you basically sign away the right to sue the company for sexual harassment. So they have to go to private arbitration. Obviously, contracts, thick, no one fucking reads those things. They're kind of small fine print clauses that have been thrown in there. There is a problem that the Supreme Court of the United States ruled that that's legal, and the companies have the right to do that. But walkouts like this have worked in the past because both Google and Facebook dropped their private arbitration clauses from their contract after their staff walked out.
Cool.
So
that's Google and Facebook, hopefully.
So hopefully Riot listens, but basically that's what happened. Is it's a couple of lawsuits against the company for sexual harassment claims. They were moved to private arbitration. Obviously those people were talking with friends that they have in the Riot. That all got out, and everyone was like, fuck this, no, we are not moving. Like, that is not okay. They want these things to go, it's not like they want these things to go public. They want these things to go to the courts, where a lawyer can be there and a judge can be there and a proper decision can be reached. Because private arbitration is normally what it leads to, like, here's $10,000, keep your mouth shut kind of stuff, you know. And they don't want that. They want proper change happening in the company, not just hush money. So that is specifically what they were protesting. Also, they did a very good thing, because this is my pet peeve with protests in general, across the entirety of the world, whenever a protest happens, is that they had a specific goal and a date. They want the company officials to bring forward changes to the private arbitration clauses and make it not just going forward, but retroactive as well. And they want these changes to be brought forward and for a discussion to happen between the heads of the company and the people at the walkout by the 16th of May. That is they just put they put a date and a thing they want happening, And then if not, they said they will take further action. It's like, okay, good. A goal and a date. Yeah. Fantastic. That is exactly what you need to do as a protest, because one of my pet peeves with protest is the bunch of people out there just being like, nah! What do you want? This thing to stop. Okay, how? When? Why? Yeah. What are you doing here? What are you doing here? The protest that happened in Melbourne recently with the animal rights group, where they just drove a van into a busy CBD intersection, jumped out of the van wearing black T-shirts, as if that wasn't terrifying enough, and then we're just like, we're protesting animal abuse. Where? When? How? What do you want changed? None of those details. Yeah. They just said animal abuse is what we're protesting. Like, that's great. More power to you. But you got to be more specific than that. Yeah. You got to be more specific, because otherwise you can't move anything in this world without a set of goals. And that's why I am 100% behind this riot walkout. Is like, A, I agree with their cause, and B, they are fucking organized, like properly organized.
Yeah. I know a lot of protests are for the point of just bringing attention to the situation that is bad.
You were about to use the words "bring awareness to," and I was about to jump across this table and strangle you, because that's my peeve. It's just like, we want to bring awareness to, like, great, I'm aware, now what?
Yeah, no, there should be follow-up protests that do your specific thing.
Yeah,
that's actually a good point. I've never actually thought of that before.
Yeah,
to me, a lot of protests are not meaningless to a degree.
No, they're not meaningless. Protests are not meaningless. I just think, like, every time I see a protest, is that it is always flanked by the phrase "bring awareness to," and you're like, okay, I'm aware now. Now what? What do you want me to do about it? Tell me what to do, because I want to help, but you're not letting me, because you're just like, save the animals, or blah, not the coal mine. And I'm like, okay, great. Now what? Please tell me now what.
More than just visit the website.
Yeah, and you visit the website and donate. Great. Like, what is the steps here? What are the actual tangible steps that can be taken so that we can actually get this done? And these guys here at Riot, they gave them tangible things that they wanted. They wanted this clause removed by this date, or we'll take the next step. And that's great.
Yeah. I'm thinking of this specific scenario within a historical context, which this is a historical event. Mm-hmm. It's the first video game walkout. This will cause change within Riot and the industry.
Yes,
This is part of the ripple effect that last year's investigation, reporting has led to.
Yes.
It's just the irony of a protest, of a walkout happening in a company called Riot.
Yes.
Like, this is actually, like, you look at it, like, in 20 years, just like, of course, they call their name Riot, like, of course that was going to happen. Like, it's just like...
Yeah. There's going to be a lot of, like, breakdowns in history classes about, like, the Riot. Like, it's just such a... And also, like, have you seen some of the, like, the messaging coming out of Riot, like their internal management? Because they call the workers at Riot rioters. Yes. Yeah. And they're like, we agree with the rioters. Like, wait, stop.
They're not actually rioting. You do know what a protest is.
It's just like, oh, wait, no. You can't do this.
Yeah.
Why? Like... No forethought in what they call their company, which is great. I'm all for it. Yeah. But yeah, no, this is a big deal. I think it feels a little bit subdued at the moment.
Every historical event is subdued.
Yes, until the ripple happens. Yeah. I think until the second one happens, like when the second one happens, which I feel might be coming with the stories from NetherRealm recently. And did you not see that?
I did see the headline. But I don't know.
They were put in the same boat.
I can't remember. Like, I know.
Mortal Kombat Injustice. 100-hour work weeks on there. Yeah. And we didn't talk about it with Epic, but Epic also was accused of, like, Epic crunch, which, when you look at it, like, of course they were crunching. They've been crunching for like 18 months straight. Yeah. Like, I don't know how a lot of us were like, yeah, Fortnite's doing great and they're doing good work. It's like, yeah, no wonder, because they're literally killing their employees by trying to get this thing up. Yeah. Because the 14-year-old market is relentless. You can't do anything about it. Yeah. You need to make those updates happen.
Which is why everyone's mad at Apex, because they can't do this? Probably because they're letting their employees sleep.
That's literally what they said in their response, because there was a bunch of people saying Apex is not, like, Apex was falling behind and not doing what it needs to do and all that kind of stuff. And that report came out basically a day or two before the NetherRealm stuff and the Riot stuff came out in Epic. And Respawn responded basically saying, we have worked very hard to not have a crunch culture at Respawn. Just because Apex was successful, we were not going to force our workers to work 100-hour weeks just to get more content in the game. Yeah. We would prefer to take longer. Sure, we lose the player base at the moment, but we will make better content for longer if our staff have the chance to, I don't know, go home on the weekend. Yeah. So that's why that's happening. The Riot walkout it is slightly different. I do want to make sure it is differentiated, because it is not...
It's not just crunch.
It's not crunch related. It's not specifically crunch related. They were specifically walking out the private arbitration because of the sexual harassment claims. And that's why I'm very... wanted to point out that specific thing about they have a specific end date and they have a specific goal, because if they can achieve that goal, then I think that's the catalyst for them to go, cool, now we can do another thing, because now can we stop working more than 70 hours in a week? And doing that kind of stuff. Like they can now, if they can, and this is the power of collective bargaining. If you can get everyone on side and you can make a single change that is, of significance that the company wasn't going to make without you people standing together as a force, you can make any change you want. And that's the big deal. And Game Workers Unite, I hope gets off the ground here, because they're one of the organizations pushing for gamers to or game industry to unionize. And the funny thing is, we talk about the game industry. We're talking about the US here, because literally any other company that functions in any other first world country kind of has to have a union by law, because a lot of places in Europe and even in Australia, unionization is legislated in. You have to allow your people to unionize. Yeah. So we're talking about America here, really. Yeah.
I think some Canadian,
to a
lesser degree.
Yeah.
But
but not all.
Yeah. Yes. What was I going to say with that?
Whereas in America, it's pretty much all. There are yet to hear of an American developer that has not done this at least once.
Yeah. And I think in Australia, we have, our laws are good enough that we have good minimum pay rate, we have all the stuff, we have protection. I don't think we have an actual video game union in Australia, to my knowledge. But we don't have the industry anymore. Is the problem? Yeah, that's the thing. And
one of the reasons is because we have so many protections under the law. The video game companies don't think it's profitable to operate here.
Yeah,
which is bullshit.
You need to lower your margins.
Bullshit. Yeah. You just need to stop being like, we need to make $1 trillion profit this year. Fucking hell.
Yeah.
Anyway, congratulations to the Riot workers. I really hope this does make some difference.
I can see Riot.
I think by the time this episode is up, that deadline will have passed.
The 16th. Maybe this part, yeah.
Yeah. So stay tuned to see what we think about that. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know, mate. 16th of next Thursday, so...
Yeah, possibly. So possibly by the time this is out, that deadline is passed and we will be finding the fallout. Anything else you wanted to add? I might just wrap this up.
Yeah, wrap it up.
Yeah, wrap it up. Yeah, it's been a big one, been a long one, probably a 3-parter, probably a good thing. Yeah. If you did enjoy this, please leave a like and subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. If you have any questions, comment below or email us at amalgamshow@gmail.com. Support us on Patreon or see us at all of our social medias at The Amalgam Show. You can also check us out on iTunes, Spotify. That's all the plugs. It's been the Amalgam Games Lab. Have a good week. Bye.
Bye.